Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another game of the Rugby World Cup. This one a very crucial one for these two sides, France and Italy. Whoever wins this, theoretically, makes their way through to the quarterfinals. Looking at the way that the table sits, the All Blacks are qualified for the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals, having 3 wins out of the 4. Both Italy and France have got the opportunity of advancing alongside the All Blacks, but they do need the victory here. On the technicality, I believe there is no way of France getting through to the next stage if they are beaten by Italy here, although it does come down to head-to-head first, so there might be a chance that they can sneak in just a little bit further ahead. But of course, France want a big victory here. They want to finish first in this group so that they are qualifying at the top of the bunch, and then that would mean that they take on South Africa. Theoretically, there's still a lot of creases that need to be ironed out at the moment in these pools, but for now, New Zealand at the top qualified, Italy versus France, the next game that we have got to look forward to. Looking through at the starting lineup, first of all, for the French, it will be Cyril Bailly at number 1, Pietro Malvaca and Yui Antonio as the front row. A lot of physicality there, and they will be hoping to be strong up front, similar to what we saw with the All Blacks last week when they did go head-to-head with the Italians, trying to put them on the back foot and then allow the backs to flourish. Cameron Woki at number 4 with Flamand. And number 5, Anthony Gelange. And number 6, Charles Olivon at 7 and Gregory Aldrit. And number 8, all have the ability of getting in the breakdown, winning those turnovers when needed. And I feel like in this game for France, if they are able to push that pace early, if they are able to take the Italians into deep water, they can find themselves scoring quite a few points here. It is going to be a change at number 9, ladies and gentlemen. It is Luku gets that opportunity there rather than a Dupont, rather than Kuyu. But I still feel like Luku, a lot of people have underestimated what that man can do in his rugby career. And now I look forward to seeing him in that starting lineup, showing everyone exactly how dangerous he can be, showing that Dupont is not the be-all, end-all. Now, number 10, they have gone with Jalabert, a man who was brought in due to an original injury. That was of Roman Intermac, and he was still able to shine throughout this Rugby World Cup competition. France getting themselves a couple big wins. Something they've been criticised of maybe a little bit is the fact that they haven't been able to get those winning bonus points as often. Some of the other sides, Jonathan Dante at number 12, the turnover machine, but he also runs like 1-2 over the opposition any chance he gets, with Galfiku at 13 on his outside. Belbari at number 11. Damien Pinot out on the out on the right wing at number 14. And Thomas Ramos at number 15 to close out the starting lineup for the French. Looking through at the chat, we have got there, thanks for the commentary, sitting and working on my masters. Getting to listen to the rugby, says Rudy now, so hopefully it is all going well for you, mate. If France don't win, or if they don't bring their A game, Italy will pounce, says Neville. And nothing is going to stop the French. They're going to win by 30 plus points, says Ruth. And stranger things have happened, says Rudy now. They're exactly right. This is a playoff game at the end of the day. And the pressure of being in front of your home nation, knowing that you need to walk away from this game with a victory, can be extremely intimidating for a side. But I feel like France are up for the challenge here. Italy will certainly be trying to push them, but it's whether or not France can find that momentum nice and early, because out of these sides in this group, we will show it once again, they haven't actually got the biggest ever points differential. Now, I know that sounds weird to say when they're sitting at plus 125, but when you consider some of the other results that we've seen throughout this group, France have been, I guess, that consistent motor that's just kept on ticking over and over. And they've been able to get themselves those 3 victories, including the massive one up against the All Blacks. That was the key game that was going to shape this pool from the get-go. And we saw the French walk away with that contest. And then from there, they've had a couple solid wins over Uruguay as well as Namibia, not conceding a lot of tries along the way, which I think is the big thing for France here. We will look through very quickly at this, and then we will be looking straight back at what they have done in some of their other games. So up against the Uruguayans, they were able to win it 27 points to 12, so conceding the 2 tries in that contest to Uruguay. But Uruguay have shown that they can be a very handy side when they are firing, and in that game, they were doing just that. It was a close one, went down to the wire almost, but France getting the victory. Then they had that 96-0 up against Namibia, and I think that really opened up people's eyes to what was possible for this French side, because they were just running rampage is the best way of describing it, looking to get as many tries as physically possible. I'll be honest, if Italy haven't fixed the mistakes from last week, that could be a score we see again up against the Italians. But looking through at this Italian side, what have they changed from last week? Well, one thing's for sure, they've changed this back line. A lot of reshuffling has taken place. It is Simeone Ferrari at number 1, Jaime Faiva at 2, and then Cesarelli as the number 3. Cannoni and Rusa will be the locking duo. Sebastian Negri, Michele Lamaro, and it is Lorenzo Cannoni. So they have stuck with that same loose forward trio throughout this whole Rugby World Cup. It's been working for them at times. I feel like in this game, if they really muscle up with Jalonge, Olivon, and also, who's the number 8? Who was it? It was Gregory Aldrit. Then they'll do extremely well throughout this match. Stephen Varney at number 9 with Tommaso Allen returning to number 10 after playing fullback in the game up against the All Blacks. The man who played fly half in their last game is now playing 12 with Juan Ignacio Brex on his outside at 13. Monty Ioane out on the left wing. Pierre Bruno out on the right. And then Capuzio moves from right wing to fullback for this game. And this Italian lineup we have got there in the chat as well is Scotland versus Ireland this weekend. It certainly is. It is taking place tomorrow morning, 24 hours from now. It's when that game is going to be starting, and we will be covering it on the channel. Hello, Mr. H, and all says Andre, and also hi all. Will be an interesting match, says Ocker, and Head wants France to win. Hart wants Italy to win. Confusing game for me, says Peter Wild, and looking forward to this game. I certainly am. It's going to be an entertaining one, and also it's going to answer a lot of questions for us, because at this stage, no poll has confirmed both sides that are through to the quarterfinals. This could be the first poll that has actually done so, depending on what result. We do see Happy Friday, people, says Dylan Simpson. Same to you, although, yeah, no, it is still Friday up there, isn't it? I was going to say Saturday here in New Zealand, but we are random time zone to describe it in a nice way. We have got there France are beating. Are they out? If they are beaten, they are, yes. So if France lose this game, which is crazy to think, isn't it? The fact that due to them not receiving a couple bonus points, but then you look at someone like an Ireland or one of those sides, and the fact that bonus points, it seems so crucial at the start of the competition, but when it really comes down to it, the head-to-heads are the big one for these sides. If you win your head-to-head battle against one of the other outfits, you will be more than likely advancing. So you just have to make sure you're beating those big teams and you can go far. It's just a crucial game for both teams. Exactly right, it is. Because whoever loses this goes home. And it's crazy to think that France, after the winning streak that they have created throughout this Rugby World Cup, including that opening game up against the All Blacks, if they're defeated here, they're gone from their home competition. Good morning, Amish, says Zion, welcome in. And also we have got there, Kia ora peeps, says Nazi Williams, welcome in. And also we have got there, mark my words, Springboks versus France in the final, says Irvin. That will be happening as a quarterfinal fixture, fun fact, if the draw does go the way that it is sitting currently, rather than in the final. Good morning, Amish. Do you think Italy stands a chance against France? I honestly feel like if we see an Italian side that they've got potential to be, they could push the French at times throughout this game. I just feel like from that last game, when they went head-to-head with New Zealand, I feel like that would have been a confidence defeater for the Italians, but that can sometimes bring out the passion in sides. And I feel like Italy are a passionate team that might consider that last game as a bit of a wake-up call, as a inspirer for them, and they're going to go out here and really try and fight. Let's go Italy, come on, says Ian Foster. Bulla Hamish, had any sleep yet? I managed a few hours. The unfortunate thing was the Fijians were going to be announcing their team last night at about 10 p.m. So I stayed up, waited for that. That didn't happen. Stayed right up till about 12, just in case they were a bit later announcing it. Didn't happen. So then I went to sleep, managed about 6 hours rather than around the 7 or 8 that I was hoping for. But then Fiji announced their team at like 5 a.m. or somewhere around there. So we will have a video coming out about an hour after this live stream where we do talk about that Fijian lineup. Evening, Amish, good morning. Did you play rugby? And I can't wait for the Ireland match, says Dimitri. I did way back in the day, like when I was in maybe under 9s, under 10s. I was out on the wing. I spent 2 seasons waiting to get the ball. They'd never pass it because we had a very greedy 9 and 10. We always lost games because they wouldn't pass the ball and then they just weren't good. But yeah, unfortunately my rugby career consisted of me tackling the big boys who were running down the wing. And then after 2 seasons of not really getting the ball, I think I touched it twice. Scored a try off one of them, but yeah, after not touching the ball for long enough, realising it was just tackling simulator, I was like, I wouldn't mind maybe trying something else. An evening average looking good, says Ruth. And also be a good game if Italy believe and have the confidence they did against New Zealand. Or which they didn't against New Zealand, sorry. And could be a close game, France by 15. And also, lads, it's a Kiwi. Says Albert and bonjour. Says Rodney there. And also, will France go? They are home, says Elwin. Well, they will get to go to their houses, I guess is the best way of describing it. Italy, it isn't too far from France, so they can just head a bit south and they'll be home. Globetrotters, All Blacks, fun with Uruguay and almost got on the scoreboard first, says Albert. And also, we have got there while France only beat Uruguay 27 points to 12. So you may have a chance, Irvin. Although I know that's something that France would say about that game, is they did make a lot of changes to their starting lineup compared to what they have done here, which is a little bit more of a stronger side. The return of Jonathan Dante at number 12, he's going to be a massive player for them throughout this game. And hi, Amish all says, Di, welcome in, and this game will be very interesting. Can't wait to call it. I can't call it from South Africa, says Grant. This is actually a good question. Where will France go if they lose? They are at home, says Ewan. Well, they will go, like I said, back to their families, which being out of the World Cup, of course, would be brutal for these sides, but being able to see their families again will be pretty awesome. Although for France, it's not really, like you said, it's not that far compared to where they are. Some of the players may even be going to their homes in between the weeks. No, Dupont says, Toby, not at this stage, no. Face still broken, but I heard something about how he's got an appointment on Monday, which is then going to be with a specialist to really determine whether or not it is safe. But at this stage, it seems like the specialist is going to say that he is able to play. He shouldn't be able to do too much more damage to that face, which, it's a risky one, of course. But hopefully whatever they decide is going to be considering Dupont's safety. At the end of the day, we don't want to see a player end up with some sort of serious injury because of them rushing him back in for the sake of a quarter-final. Hoping Italy pulling off an upset. Says Goldberg, and also we have good there. Thanks, Ian Foster. Viva till later. Says Ruben, hey, Hamish, great to see you rooting for the winner. Says Judy, very safe bet. And also good evening from Cape Town, South Africa. Let us enjoy tonight's game. And tonight I will be neutral, not really support either team, and let the best team win. France could be the winner tonight. Says Desmond, I'm picking French wins 13-11. And also we have good there will be no upset. Box being Ireland in the finals, says Albert. No, I don't want Italy to win. We want Ireland in the quarterfinals, says Trajan. I live in France and love the French, but after watching Italy try their best in the Six Nations time after time, I feel they deserve something. I don't see it here, though. France will walk them, says John Kerr. And the tricky part is, because it is a home competition for France, you'd assume that they have got just a little bit more of an oomph or a little bit more about them, that they want to go out there and really shine. How will they be able to avoid match fixing in the Ireland game? Says Dimitri. I heard someone make a good point about this the other day. First of all, if either team did want to get involved in match fixing, they would be banned straight away, so they wouldn't be able to. As much as people are saying, oh, what if they did, what if they didn't, they can't. Because if they did anything along those lines, it would be clear and obvious that it has taken place. The other side of things is, I don't understand why they would want to knock out South Africa at this stage of the competition, sacrifice their own winning streak for the Irish's sake here, because they have to theoretically give up a longest winning streak almost ever that a World International Rugby side has had. They will be able to complete that winning streak if they do beat the All Blacks next week. So giving up history for the sake of knocking out a team that theoretically still have to go through 2 more sides before meeting them again when you bet them in the group stage. It just doesn't make sense to me. But that's the conspiracy at the moment, alongside a few others that we've seen for this Rugby World Cup. But yeah, I don't see it happening. I'll be honest. I feel like there's too much on the line for Ireland at the moment. They haven't worked as hard as they did over the last 2 years to throw it away in a game to knock out a side that they may not even face again in a Rugby World Cup. Oh, Hamish, what time is kickoff? It is 15 minutes away, so we aren't too far away at all from that one taking place. Sometimes playing at home can be too much pressure. Says Sportsman, I wonder if Matt Williams is going to moan about the morality of letting Dupont play with his injury. And also, we have got there, have you found a way to broadcast live action for the final? We have not, no. We still haven't got the few $1 million that we would need to be able to show. Hamish, you are so spicy tonight with France going home, says Denzel. And also, how does coach tell his players to back off? Not in a rugby player's DNA, says Kurt. Yeah, like, I can't imagine the team meeting. It's like, right, boys, you need to, like, telling the Irish side, a team that have won so many games back to back to back, boys, you have to take your foot off the gas and allow Scotland to score 41 points at least against you for you to still get your bonus point as well. So pretty much telling a side that hasn't conceded in the 40s in the last 2 years, hey, you gotta let a few tries in just to see how it goes. How's it, Hamish, says Gert. And if you look at the French starting team, this will be a massive pummeling of Italy, and South Africa can't be knocked out of the pool. We're on 15 points. And this is the second last game in the pool besides Romania versus Tonga, says Andre. There is still the technicality, which is if Scotland win their game by 21 points and Ireland still receive the bonus point, they can actually both qualify ahead of South Africa. But it's a very, very thin chance. I don't see it happening at the moment. Ireland are in too good a form to be able to be defeated by that margin. If they do lose, of course, they might be the team that end up going home, but I don't see South Africa being the one who is knocked out of that group. Hope Belbari puts up a good performance for my fantasy team, says Anelli. And I think Ireland will run over Scotland, says Sean Lees. And if Scotland do beat Ireland, it will be a massive psychological blow to Ireland. So they are not going to do that deliberately, says Flesh in there. And as I always say, one can't believe how a game can make a U-turn, says Chloe. And also, we have got there Italy to win by 58, says username. That is a bold prediction. I think that's the biggest margin. We're saying it's rubbish. No one loses on purpose, says Trajan. And Ireland 4-pack, 2 big for Scotland pack, says Justin. Yeah, we announced the lineups not too long ago. We were a little bit late because they do like to announce them in the middle of the night. South Africa is going home, but only on the 28th or the 29th of October with a souvenir, says Dylan. New Zealand versus Ireland, who do you think takes it? Says Nelly. I'll be honest, at the moment, based off current form and based off current selection, you'd have to say that the Irish do have probably the psychological edge because they're on that massive winning streak, like we have talked about. Alongside that, we have also seen the Irish keep consistently that roughly same lineup, only making the 2 changes for their game up against Scotland and New Zealand. If they can get their selection right, I believe that they have got the potential of beating Ireland. But they don't know what the lineup is that will be able to beat Ireland yet because they've made 9 changes the last 2 weeks. So if they can find that cohesion and the chemistry amongst their 15, they've got a decent chance. If they don't find it, we got to remember Ireland's been playing week in, week out with the same lineup. So they should have that little bit of an edge there. But New Zealand, maybe some would say they've got that little bit more of an X factor of if they do end up firing, they could be extremely hard to stop. Does that make sense? I feel New Zealand is a different beast in knockout rugby, says Anelli. And at least Townsend has got a decent attacking team out there, says Flesham. Very true. Sticking Darcy Graham out on the wing after his brilliant performance in the game up against the Romanians last week. I should mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Looking through at this French starting lineup once more. Settled by in the front row alongside Pietro Malvaca, who's just a tank and a ball of muscle at 2. Nui Antonio coming in as number 3. Cameron Waki, and also it will be Fabe Flamand at number 5. Jalonge at 6, who is not the captain for this contest, I don't believe. In fact, no, he might be the captain. No, Olivon is. I just remembered he is going to be the captain, and he is at number 7 in this loose forward trio. Griri Aldra at number 8 to close out a strong French 4-pack. Luku at number 9. Jalibert at 10. Dante and Fiku will be the midfield combo. Now, that is an extremely dangerous one. Dante has been absolutely brilliant in the last little while. Definitely throughout 2023. He had a bit of an injury, which was a setback for him, but now that he's back and raring to go, he is going to be a very impressive player. Louis Belbari out on the left wing. Damien Pinot out on the right. He wants to be the leading try scorer in the competition, and this game would be a very good time to be able to increase that try scoring prowess. And then Thomas Ramos slotting in at number 15. They've got 2 kicking options here, either Ramos or Jalibert. But either way, I believe they will be very strong. Looking through at the Italians in the 4-pack, not too many changes compared to what we did see in the last contest up against New Zealand. Simeone Ferrari at number 1, Fiver at 2, and Cesarelli at number 3. Canoni and Rusa will be the locking duo. So Canoni coming into the starting lineup after being off the bench in the last contest. Sebastian Negri keeps his spot at number 6. Number 7, Mikel Lamaro, the captain. And then it will be Lorenzo Canoni at number 5. I almost said 15, but number 8 close out the strong Italian pack. Stephen Varney at number 9 with Tommaso Allen, the man who played fullback last week, slotting in at 10. Garbisi moves from fly half to inside centre with Ioane Ignacio Brex on his outside. Monty Ioane out on the left wing, almost scored in that last contest up against the ABs. In fact, he might have got over the line near the end of the game. I know there was a disallowed try for the Italians right near the end of the contest. Pierre Bruno out on the other wing, who is also a very strong ball runner. And then Ange Capuzio comes in at number 15. That is the change from what they did have last week, as Allen has gone there, Garbisi's gone there. There's a little bit of a reshuffle for the Italians. And their lineup, looking through at the bench, Bougret at number 16 for France, Wardy and Elieri at number 18, Talfafanoa and Crew at number 20, Baptiste Couillou. Excited to see him. They did just show Dupont. He's got a bit of a black eye still from his facial injury, but there is still hope that he will be back by the quarterfinals. Mofana at number 22 and Jaminet to close out this French side. Manfredi, Zani and Riccioni at number 18. Sissi and Zuliani, the other two forward replacements. Then they have got Fusco, Maurici and also Panni to close out this Italian side. So no Odogwu for this contest, I should mention as well. Right, we have got a lot of messages to try and get through, but I will try my best to read absolutely all of them. We have got there, Scotland has never scored more than 3 tries against Ireland, says Albert. And I also saw a stat that did say that Johnny Sexton, I believe he's on about a 12-year winning streak against Scottish opposition in all formats. We're talking the URC, we're talking the Six Nations. Anytime Johnny Sexton has played a Scottish side, he has walked away victorious. And as a Scot, I see us losing by less than 7. We are a realist. It's a bet we will get. They are too strong, says John Kern. Scotland, I know I read that one, didn't I? And also we have got there, what's your prediction, says Sports Fan? I honestly feel like France will take this game by around 40 points, which sounds harsh, but I just have that bit of a feeling that Italy, if they don't get their defence right, similar to what we saw up against the All Blacks, one of the reasons I believe their defence was struggling was because they made so many changes to players in their starting lineup for that 15, for that 10. They pretty much had all their players reshuffled for their game the week prior. Then they went back to where they should have been playing up against New Zealand. They were all lost in the defensive line, and now they're going back to where they were for that Uruguay game. So they might end up with a little bit of that defensive errant play as well here. So, yeah, it could be that France get themselves quite a few. Do you think South Africa lost against Ireland on purpose? If it is, was it smart? I don't think they lost on purpose, because that's like, the thing is, I've seen some South Africans worried about the fact that Scotland versus Ireland is match fixed. But then people are saying South Africa lost on purpose to Ireland, which is literally match fixing. So, you know, that's, the South African side would never lose a game on purpose, I don't believe anyway. I feel like they're too competitive and too much of a fighting rugby spirit to do that. But yeah, like, I don't think the team will be saying that anytime soon, or else they could literally get themselves disqualified from this Rugby World Cup. So it's a weird scenario, isn't it, for that group, that everyone is so bound on the, like, people think that all those games in that group have been rigged to a certain extent, which just shouldn't be the case. I feel New Zealand is a different beast in knockout rugby, says Anelli. As a South African, I would rather play the French on home soil than New Zealand, says Andre. 20% going for Italy tonight. Well, a lot of hopeful people here. Good luck, Italy, says Brian. And I hope New Zealand send Ireland packing in the quarter, says Justin. I think France by 38, says Stefan. And Bozzy knows what he's doing. The fact that nobody else knows is a good thing, says Stephen. And also we have got there, 20% of the audience must be doing some heavy drinking, says Richard. And Ireland badminton world champs, says Justin. And also we have got there, great show. What's your predictions, says Michael. My prediction, I am going France by 40. And no conspiracy, rugby is not cricket. Rugby players do not break their bones for nothing. Paul Springboks, so much negativity, says Goldberg there. And we beat the All Blacks in their own backyard. So it won't be any harder to trounce them lads in France. Until we beat the Scots, says Dennis. And how's it, everyone? Just got home from work. I hope all had a good week, says Stormy. And there is still plenty more awesome action coming up this weekend. What is so great about him? Not such a brilliant player people make him out to be, Says, but I assume you're talking about Antoine Dupont in that regard. And I, to a certain extent, I agree. I think Maxime Lucu has had a phenomenal couple years in the French kit. It's just because everyone, of course, thinks of Dupont when they think of that French number 9 jersey. I honestly feel like Lucu, if he has a standout game here, like, it wouldn't really be a surprise for me because we've seen what he's been able to do in the past couple of years for France and also for his club team. We need to remember the man does not just play French international rugby. He has got quite a career outside of it. Rivers Carl Dixon says Rodney, and also Monty Amish go the box, says Tar there. And also this chat takes me back to the MX IT group chats. Says exactly there. And the media just like stirring the pot. Ireland were just very good. When we played them in box, we'll never give a game away. Exactly right. And all this talk of match fixing is just a media narrative. It's just a load of crap. Says not everyday contest. Yeah, it seems to be like the media throughout this Rugby World Cup. I'll be honest, there has been a lot of false narratives created throughout this one. And it's a shame because I feel like the media shouldn't feel the only way that they can get people invested in the game is by creating rumours that there's like problematic things happening. Like, we've got to remember, we've had a Rugby World Cup here that's had some brilliant performance from the lower tier sides. We've had some upsets along the way. We saw Fiji beat Australia for the first time in 69 years. But the media is more worried about saying whether or not Dupont's face is at 100% or if there's some sort of conspiracy happening in Pool B. I feel like there's other things that they could be focused on, but they know that that won't get as many clicks if they don't report the stuff that they're like, oh, this will stir the pot. Rugby just isn't cricket. Give me examples of match fixing in international rugby. I can't think of anything either, says Andre. And also we have got their lots of conspiracy theories out there, says Ocker, and whether they fix the matches or not, you will never know. We must suspend our disbelief and enjoy the spectacle, says Dylan Simpson. Because another thing that's been painted about this World Cup as well is refereeing, of course. Referees being paid off, referees being this, that. And I feel like that's just, you know, at the end of the day, a referee can have a bad game or a game that's not quite as good as he'd normally like, but it doesn't mean that he's been given money. The worst thing is he's probably not been given money and he's just had a really bad game. And now, like, if he knew that he was going to have that bad of a game and people thought it was fixed, he might as well have got a paycheck for it, but he didn't. And greetings from Berlin, says Stuart there. I'm not highly confident of the handicap, says Jonathan Manson. What have you gone with in this game? Ref, don't forget the coolest underwear, says Dimitri for Fuff de Klerk and France by 50, says Tarnalo, says Joe D. And we also got there, you're saving the suit for the South African game, H, says Glenn Woods. Well, we haven't got a South African game this weekend, but we are probably going to be wearing the suit either tomorrow or the next day at some stage. And, of course, Ireland versus Scotland, that will be taking place tomorrow. The Italians have finished their national anthem. They are fired up at the moment. We have got there predicting the Kiwi lads taking the World Cup for best rugby commentating for 2023. Says Stormy. Well, I will very happily accept that award. Stormy, if it was offered. With referees, it's just a lack of consistency, really. Says Sean Lees. And also we have got there, I love how you say my name with a French accent. Says Andre. Now I feel Andre. Is there no R or tongue roll? Andre. I'm trying to think of how I say Andre Esterhazen, but it's the same way, I think. I think it just ends up a bit of that. Very hot topic we're in. Says Robert. I feel like we could easily talk about this for like an hour before the game, although I should mention we're only about maybe 60 seconds away from the kickoff, so we will be just around the corner from getting into the commentary, ladies and gentlemen. This talk about match fixing is an absolute insult to Ireland and Scotland. Ireland and Scotland have far too much respect for each other and for the game to even consider match fixing. Exactly right. I feel like, it's like I mentioned earlier on, Ireland have not worked as hard as they have over the last 2 years to get themselves almost a historic winning streak in the international rugby world, just to throw it away for the sake of possibly not facing a side that they may not face in the rest of this Rugby World Cup anyway. So it's just that false narrative that's being written. But yeah, Ireland, I think they're going to go out and really try and take it to Scotland. And to be honest, Scotland will do nothing less than that as well, because at the end of the day, both of those sides are here at this World Cup because they want to compete, and they are definitely going to try their best to put on a show. Are you all right? I'm South African, so people say Andre. Says Andre. And there's what happens if Italy wins. And good morning, Irish, says Kevin. So if Italy win this game, they will go through to the next stage of the Rugby World Cup. Now, they would have to win it with a bonus point, and France would have to not get 1 or 2 bonus points, I believe, from this game. But there is still that technicality. That means that the Italians can go through if they do get it right. Do Italy have a chance realistically? I believe from the first 20 or so minutes of this contest, we will know whether or not the Italians have shown up. Because there is a chance that France are able to get themselves a relatively comfortable win here. But there's also that other chance that is the Italians put up a really big fight, but it is going to be kicked off by the French going from right to left for the last game in Pool A in the Rugby World Cup. Nicely taken by Garbisi just inside of the Italian 22. Varney firing across the Juan Inacio Brex now. Now Hami Fiver took a knock in the warm-up, they said, so he has had to be strapped up so that he's all good to go for this match. Thomas Ramos takes the kick on the halfway line. Now looking to run it back towards the Italian defence. Luku, nice pass away to Gregory Aldrit. Straightens, taken down by Paulo Garbisi. Slinging pass from Ramos, goes to Yui Antonio. Now Luku again, recycles quickly off to Ramos Jalibert. Gives it off to Belbari. Enjoys running the ball. He hasn't quite learned the passing aspect of rugby as of yet, but he's still young and still an exciting player. We have got there no Super Occasional Friday, says Bradley, something like that, yeah. Or more so, I'm just washing it so it's nice and fresh for tomorrow. Jalibert now, although it has already been washed, I should say. I just need to iron the shirt. Now Yui Antonio, 35 metres out from the line. Pack and go around the side from Pito Malvaca. Fires it up to Luku. Cleaned up there by Flamand. Now Luku looking for that next passing option. Does run straight into the tackle with Sebastian Negri. Aldrit around the side of the breakdown. So far 10 phases back to back here for the French. Almost turnover won by Fiver. Now the captain Olifant. Nice run forward up to the 22. Going short side. Cameron Walkie finds us off the way. Jalibert goes to Ramos and Damien Pinot will score the try. 100 seconds into the game and France have started with a chick bang. I think I'm in quite an excited mood. I don't even know what that was. But Damien Pinot scores the try with a chick bang apparently. That's a new one. France try scorers. Pinot scores the try 1 or 2 minutes into the contest, ladies and gentlemen. And just using the phases. Going through a chick bang. Says, oh, I don't even know. Geez, that went very quick, says Chloe. In France means business, says Olney. They do indeed. Damien Pinot nails it. Scores the try early on. But a boom, says Glenn Woods, and this is going to be a cricket score, says Steve. And also true, aside from reading our comments, Hamish is a fine commentator, better than most of them calling commentating for most matches. But seriously, facts. It's very modest praise for Hamish, says Igor. 13th try for Damien Pinot throughout this season. He is still doing extremely well, and he is still elevating that little bit more. Chick bang, or click bang, maybe, says Sean Lees. And also, is that like, hello, chick twins want to stay over for breakfast, says Peter Wild. Now Ramos with the kick, it has gone over, and that is now going to make the score 7 points to 0 in favour of Les Bleus. And Chicka Bow Wow, says bystander, well worked try, and also love it, says Dylan Simpson. Close game, says Sean Lees, and loving that Kiwi lads, or loving the Kiwi lads, says it was there from the NZ guy. Already looking ominous for Italy. Yeah, it's going to be a tough day at the office. We won't easily forget that line. Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere for a while, is it? I don't think it's coming back out of the commentary bag either for a while, I wouldn't think. But that is going to be now down towards the halfway line. Great clearing kick from Jalibert. Rugby World Cup is so boring. Today, also one-sided game we see like yesterday. Says Master, well, the benefit is you don't have to watch it. That's the beauty of sport. That's the beauty of anything. If you don't like a movie, you don't sit through the whole thing, do you? You go, nah, I'll watch something else. And as long as Stephen Varney keeps getting picked, Italy will always struggle. Says Flesh in there. And Mr. Chick Bang 007, says John. Now nicely stolen by France on the halfway line. Luku, great skip pass. Out now to Gregory Aldrit. And let's go Italy. Says Michel there. And the sass from Avish. Says Dylan Simpson. Now, nice run forward from Malvaka. In fact, it's going to be Jonathan Dante. Now Luku, quick hands from Bailly. Doesn't quite find the hands that he was after though. Ramos kicking it downfield on the left boot. Cleaned up inside of the 22 by Capuzio, who will now look to not put this one into touch, opting instead to go down the middle of the field. What's the story with Dupont? Will he be available for the quarterfinals? Apparently he's got a specialist appointment on Monday, which will then determine whether or not he can do any more damage to his face from playing. But the signs are actually looking good for him to be back for that next contest, which is pretty insane with how early he did get injured. And also, we have got the Italians, they have good pasta, but that's about it, says JP, although they've had some pretty good rugby throughout this Rugby World Cup at times. It is going to be a penalty now in favour of France, so that is going to be for Italy being offside. Is this a full-strength French team? Pretty much, I would say. In terms of the players that they haven't got injured at the moment, this is about as good as it gets for this French lineup. And I believe that they have gone with it because they want to build up, once again, a little bit of that chemistry throughout this matchup. Get ready for those quarterfinals, which could be just around the corner. I'm about to sneeze, ladies and gentlemen. One moment. We are good. We do love a morning sneeze. Can I get a oi from all the South Africans watching this, says Jay. And also thanks, Hamish, says Brian, and also New Zealand versus Ireland, says Lucian. And bless you, says JP, and bless you, says Crumpus. And France taking the free. Does it appear too far out? So this is going to be about 48 metres straight out in front. That was a pathetic sneeze. That's because I muted. Really, I headbutted my wall, but no, I just put it on mute so you guys couldn't hear it. We heard the chick bang. Surely we can hear the sneeze, says Dylan Simpson. And what time is it there? It's currently 8:07 a.m. But Ramos has got the kick over. Now, theoretically for France, that is probably a kick that they would have liked to put into the corner. But in this case, this is one of those scenarios that they might as well try out the three from distance just to keep on giving them, I guess, those points taken over, but also just practicing for Ramos. He's done extremely well. That was the most polite sneeze I've ever seen because of statesman, says Jeremy Rogers. But yeah, once again, I'm muted so that I leaned to the side and just threw my head into the, one of those. Now nicely cleaned up by Aldrit. Just outside of the 22 here for France. Now already 7 minutes into the contest, and it is 10-0. Dupont will be targeted big time. If he plays again, psychologically it won't be all there, says Dean James. Yeah, it's going to be a very tricky scenario for Dupont because, of course, he wants to play. But, up against a side like the Springboks, who are known for being one of the most physical teams in world rugby, that is going to be a hard day at the office. And it's not so much just the head knocks that he'll take throughout that game. If he's in a breakdown, if he gets stood on or anything like that could cause a lot of damage. Best rugby commentator since ever, says Pump and Teeth. Thank you very much, mate. And what's the story with Dupont? Will he actually play again? From what I've heard, he's got a specialist appointment early next week. And then that will determine what type of progress he's making towards whether or not he can take full-on contact. Now, the answer more than likely will be no to full-on contact. But they'll probably still find a way of saying, well, if he's got the mask, if he's got everything in that regard, is he going to be all right? I still feel like Luku's not a bad option, though. I've enjoyed watching Luku when he's played for France over the last 2 or so years under Dupont. And I feel like he's still got a very dangerous pass on him. Luku now going off to Jalabert, who goes for the kick in behind. Decides that would be a good option. Now, having to be back there is Capuzio. So nice stepping, but we go back for the penalty for the original offside against the French. I don't think there is match fixing, but I think the box will target Dupont's face, says Dylan Simpson. A loss of Malcolm Marks for South Africa is huge, says Misha, although I have to say Dion Foury's really impressed me with what he's been able to do throughout the most recent game, and I hope that he can continue that in the future. Had 100% line-out accuracy and also getting into those breakdowns. I caused some controversy when I did pick my form Springboks 15 because I had Dion Foury in the starting lineup rather than Umbanumbi, But I honestly feel like if Dion Fourie can get those turnovers, he is maybe not quite Malcolm Marx, but he can be that equivalent because I think he gets more turnovers than Bongi or Manambi, and that would help out the Springboks drastically. We have got a super sticker from Stormy as well. I accidentally clicked the one about my mustache there, but thank you very much, Stormy. Hugely appreciated for your donation. That one is going to be okay for France now after the line out. It's a bit shaky. It has got a little, is that a coyote doing some punching or a dog doing some punching? Something along those lines. Anyway, Malcolm Marx is a pure warrior, beast of a man, says Misha. I'm thinking of getting an ExpressVPN. What are your thoughts on this, Hamish, says Kevin? I probably haven't really dealt with ExpressVPN that much in terms of whether or not it's good. I assume it would do the job for whatever you're trying to do. What are you trying to do, Kevin? With it, here comes Johnny Chick Chick Bang Bang, Steve. And also we have got there a certain Richie McCaw played with a broken foot and won a World Cup, says Surin. Yeah, although technically, or like, I guess biologically, broken foot's that little bit different. I don't understand how you can walk on a broken foot like McCaw did, first of all. But yeah, it's one of those ones that I guess once he's broken it, the damage has pretty much been done. NordVPN is better, says Bradley. And Italian ice cream also levels, says Denzel. And good luck, Italy, says James. But now line out throw for the French. It is Pieter Malvaca once more. Throwing it at the front, Cameron Walkie. Now going across to Luku. Jalibert, flat run. Damien Pinot looping around the outside. Breaking the line now. Going through the defenders. Goes for the grubber, but he kicks it straight into touch. And Belbari just didn't quite have the pace required to be able to cut that ball off. Morning, evening all. Thanks for the great commentary, Hamish. France got going to pummel the Italians tonight, says Marlowe. Pinot always seems to score. I can't remember him not scoring, says Geza. Yeah, I think they said 13 tries so far throughout this year, or something along those lines. And Dion Fourie is proving his grit. He will stand his ground, I believe, says Ruan. And yeah, I mean, I know it's controversial, but I probably would start him ahead of Bongi Umanambi. I feel like you need that stability of Umanambi near the end of the game. And then Dion Fourie, if he wins those couple early turnovers in a contest, could be absolutely game-changing for the Boks. And France try should have been disallowed. There's Talon. What would you have disallowed it for? Was there like a forward pass or something there, or just you'd want to disallow it because it's France? I'm trying to think of what happened. It was just a straightforward pass to Damien Pinot, wasn't it? Was it a forward pass? We speak in French? Not myself, no, because I'm terrible at speaking other languages. Although I can say like 2 sentences of Portuguese, but that doesn't get me anywhere really for a French-Italian game. Now Malvaca, rolling maul at the back. 22 metres out, Luku goes across to Jalibert, skip pass, goes to Galfiku. Now Luku gets it out again for Jalibert, almost through the gap, but he's taken down. A nice bit of work there in the breakdown, almost from Kanone. Now going short side, it will be Aldrit. 10 metres out now between the French and their second try of the contest. Olivon, the captain, gets it. Luku falling over in the pass, but does get away to Cameron Walkie, who misses his next pass. Now Pinot with the cross kick this time to Belbari, who gets the bounce of the ball, steps on the inside and scores the try for France. The assist goes to Pinot, the try goes to Belbari, and the French are cutting the Italians open. Belbari's a hard name to spell. I feel like I never quite get it right. Hang on. There we go. Belbari in the 13th minute of the game. France have been able to score once more. And also we have got there Ronaldo. And also we have got the right side is weaker for Italy. Please a try, says Jonathan. I know someone help me with predictions. What's the most likely final score? Oh, that's a tricky one. Ron has said, thanks for correcting my bad spelling after a couple of beers. No worries. And I understand how Hamish feels. I also have hay fever at the moment. A nice mustache, Hamish. Love from South Africa, says Joe. Thank you very much for being here, mate. Hugely appreciate it. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are going to be back for every game of the Rugby World Cup here on out. So we are doing 3 games tomorrow between Georgia and Wales. That is the first match. England versus Samoa will be the second. And then the third game that is taking place is going to be Ireland versus Scotland. So 3 back-to-back games all being covered on the channel, ladies and gents. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Can see this being just as uncompetitive as Italy versus New Zealand. Says Geza, yeah, I mentioned about it before the match started. The first 20 minutes were going to be evident of what's Italian side we were going to see show up. We haven't seen Italy inside of the half of France as of yet, other than when they've kicked the ball downfield and given it back to the French. Go Ireland, says Petrie. And also thanks to Les Bleus so far. Doing well on lineouts and the scrum, says Jonathan Manson. And thanks for the update, bro. And good morning again to everyone, says Rose there. Now inside of the 22, nice driving run from Gregory Eldred. We have got there from Calmac. Hello, mate, ban all South Africans in Irish from tomorrow night's match, says Calmac. But aren't Ireland playing tomorrow night? How do you ban the own, I guess, fans from a match with their team in it? Strategic, Calmac, I'll give you that. Now Montiuani carrying that one forward, going to the right-hand side here. Stephen Varney, pop pass up, Capuzio. A nice work here from Italy just to try and put together a few phases would be a good start in this contest. Already 17-0 down after that kick from Ramos was successful. Wide cut out pass out to Canoni now. He's got a huge amount of space. Oh, Damien Pinot's asking for a penalty in his favour due to, I think it was a leading elbow or something along those lines. I am going to sneeze again, sorry. We are good. But yeah, leading with the elbow for Lorenzo Canoni. Or the forearm, in fact, it is. It's hit him there. So it is just going to be the penalty rather than anything more. And also, Bok has an issue. How do they evaluate Pollard? Or, yeah, evaluate Pollard and to decide if they deserve playing quarterfinals. To be honest, if it was up to me, yes, Lukanyo is a brilliant player, but you don't want to break what you've already fixed or what you've already done throughout this World Cup by changing combinations now. Mainly because we don't actually know how fit Lukanyo is in terms of this Rugby World Cup. So I think that they'll stick with Dialende and Jesse Creel as one midfield combo, and maybe even give Estes and O'Kane and Moody a crack there. But I think putting in Lukanyo now, even though he's a brilliant player, would just be too late because, yeah, he just hasn't had any game time. Maybe him off the bench later on in a contest, but I think that if you're going to do that, you have to have intentions of wanting to play him for either the semis or the final, and I don't think South Africa would want to risk it so close to the end of the comp. South Africa must win the cup and make it 2 in a row. Ireland might lose Scotland, says Krampus. Now France, they have still got themselves the ball in hand just inside of the 22. They had a stat come up before, which was 80% possession in favour of the French for this game. And Armin Libok off the bench in the quarterfinals, says Dylan Simpson. And also, there is other way to do it, man. Says JP, as an Irish supporter, I'm glad we have the chance to play New Zealand and not France, says John Goff. Now, Selabai, 20 metres out from the try line. Luku going across to Jonathan Dante. They've been able to shut him down relatively well throughout this contest, but the problem has definitely been in the wide channels because of the wingers being able to break through. And this is another chance. Balbari down the short side finds the offload inside to Ramos, but he was just in touch, they have said. We have got there, South Africa, they'll cheat as usual, says Talon. But they haven't really cheated at this. I can't think of when they've cheated throughout this one. And also we have got there, they might put Pollard in inside centre, although it would be a bit of a risk having Pollard at 12, I believe, just because of the metres that they're making from Damien Dialende and Andre Estes, and I feel like it would be shutting down one of your key, I guess, front foot forward attacking plays. So, yeah, it will be a lot of thinking for the Springboks over the next couple of weeks. Of course, they will already know what they want to do with the players that they've got. That ball has not come out for the Italians 10 metres out from the line, so it does mean now that France have got themselves another line out, another scrum, only 10 metres out from the try line. We have got there, you can't focus on one player. If you do, it leaves more room for the others. Exactly right. We see it time and time again. That's why Damien Dialende is such a dangerous player. And I know that this is something that's completely unrelated to what we were or I guess what's happening in this game. But with someone like a Damien de Allende, Jonathan Dunty's the same, so that's where we segue it back in. Those type of players, you need two men to try and tackle them. And then straight away, that means that you are numerically at an advantage somewhere else on the field, if that makes sense. So I believe that more defenders would be running in to stop someone like a de Allende than they would Pollard, although Pollard, he might lure in that extra one to try and stop that offload that could end up coming, or that next pass. At the back line, only one place with Pollard, 10 starting, says Elias. And I think the big thing is, if Pollard starts, Lebock has to be somewhere, because we've seen what kind of impact he has had off the bench. So I think that will be one of the main things that determine whether or not it's a 6-2 or a 5-3, is whether or not they have Lebock or Pollard off the bench. Esterhuizen, I think, will be a good midfield solo line breaker that knows when to pass, says Rouen. They are just showing the French coach here. He's not too happy at the moment by the looks of it. He would like to have that bonus point secured, of course, by halftime, just to feel that little bit more confident heading forward. Surely it means the occasion is too big for Italy, says it was there from Mimania. Yeah, it's a massive game for them. Like, at the end of the day, this was a playoff. But Italy, I mentioned about it after making so many changes in the reshuffle of their backline last week, to then do those same reshuffles and reverse them back to what you had 2 weeks ago, means defensively there are going to be gaps, unfortunately. Now, big scrum feed here for the French. Nice push from Italy to almost get that one back. Tackle has been made. They do have to release him for Gregory Aldrit. Now, Luku passes across there to Flemont. 10 metres out the line, Pito Malvaka with the pick and go of his own now around the side. Cameron Walkie decides to do the same. 5 metres out from the try line now for France. Olivon, the captain, gets it to within 4. Just a little bit of time to go in this first half. I'm thinking they'll fire this out wide though. Even though they are using their forwards currently, I believe it will be a back who manages to pierce their way through. Luku now decides to shift it off to Cyril Bailly. Gets a good leg drive going. Tackle once again. I believe that time it was Tommaso Allen now using the backs. Ramos, consider the cross kick, goes to Jalabert instead. Showing his pace. Inside border, Pinot finds the offload to Ramos. Little bit of a lucky bounce for the French, but it will be the try for Thomas Ramos, the third now of the first half. That was in the 21st minute as well. Thomas Ramos scores it. He was lurking. He almost decided to go for that cross kick. Instead decided to shift it out wide. Found the success. Got the offload from Damien Pinot after a little bit of a mistake was made by, I believe it was Galfiku. Wasn't quite able to clean the ball up. France is insane, says Nonzo there. And also we have there, Lebock needs to be on the bench, says Rouen. And also Pakistan won by 81 runs, says Robert there. But nice run from Jalabert. Just getting knocked back by Galfiku. They're just asking the question of whether or not it popped out forward. It looks like it did slap slightly backwards. Chick chick bang try, says Peter Wild there. I agree Damien is physical, but too slow, but Lebock gives huge impact. But you have to get 100% of the kicks over. Google says 23 minutes gone, although now it's up to 24 with this kick going over from Thomas Ramos. And click, click, boom. Try time, says Glenwood, and glug, glug, glug says was there from John. And this game now, with the fact that it is sitting 24-0, is there any sort of fight back that we can see? That was just a perfect example of Montijuani getting beaten for pace on the outside. Defensively, I believe we just saw all three players who are playing a different position compared to what they are, other than, of course, Montijuani. We saw Garbisi, we saw Tommaso Allen. And I was a sneeze break. We'll be back shortly. So here's Go Travel Planet. Good clear and kick downfield from the French. Capuzio decides to take it quickly. Fires it infield to Tommaso Allen. Does get tackled well low by Luku. Now short side again for the Italians. I am still yet to see the Italians really inside of the French half. And once again, the penalty has gone the way of Le Bleu in the breakdown. This time, Gregory Aldrit getting over the ball and winning the turnover. We'll get there. South Africa has a quota to fulfill, no matter how brilliant you are, says Goldberg there. Although I feel like with the mix that they've found recently in their side, like it's still a very balanced team in terms of what they can put out there in the starting lineup and be competitive. Like we've seen some brilliant bit of work. And I feel like most of the players who are now in the starting lineup, they've really earned their spot with how well they've been playing. They've got their British Secret Service are beating England in the final, says Kelmac. And also, can anybody tell the full lines of Funny Child laughing, says Master. I think that you're smoking something, Master, to be honest. And also, we've got the Italy are terrible. Says Sam, whoever called the sneeze break was 100% spot on. One moment. We are back. And now France inside of the 22 after the rolling maul was stopped by Italy. Jalabert finally offload on the inside to Luku, who just had his knee chopped out by Canoni, and the penalty does go the way of the Italians there. And Quaka is the most passionate player for us, says it was there from Richard Simpson. Oh no, that was actually a little bit earlier on. That went flying up somewhere. Where'd that go? There it is, from Xander. And I hope Italy will not try. I will get a try, not a whitewash, says Kevin. And also changing seasons, there's a cold going around. There's Geza. And also Pollard, please, says Ruth. The momentum tracker, though, there has been very little in favour of the Italians. So do you think the Kiwis are peaking at the right time, says Petrie? I feel like if they can get their selection right, New Zealand can be competitive in their game up against the Irish. We mentioned about it a bit earlier on, but I feel like if New Zealand get the lineup selection wrong, then it's the Irish every day of the week. Speaking of every day of the week, oh no. I was about to say they should score this every day of the week, the Italians, but they do drop the ball 15 metres out from their try line. Now Luku looking for the cutout pass. It's dropped there by Yui Antonio, and they will go back for the original knock-on from the Italians. France now with the scrum. It might be done, but I hope we don't make it out. We need to hit rock bottom for changes to be made to Australian rugby, says Xavier Brown. Yeah, it's a tough scenario at the moment for Aussie rugby, but it might be that slight wake-up call that a lot of people have been calling for a long time. Stop saying New Zealand playing Ireland. They aren't through yet, says Giza. Sorry, am I jinxing it? I don't think I'm jinxing it, though. Surely they're making it through, aren't they? That's famous last words, isn't it? Okay, that's what's your suggestion on the loose forward trio for the block playing France. I honestly think that they'll go Khaleesi, Peter Steph-Toy, and they'll probably go with that experience of Vermeulen, and then Jesper Visa and Quacha Smith off the bench, is what I think. But the problem is if you have Jesper and Quacha, it means that you probably can't have Faf de Klerk, or you can't have a halfback and Marnie Libok, if that makes sense. You kind of need someone like Faf de Klerk who could cover both. You are jinxing it, thanks, says John. And John Alomu was the best 11, says Xander. And O'Flower of Scotland, says John. You're right, H. New Zealand need the right selections for absolute sure, says Glenn Woods. Yeah, the benefit that Ireland have going into that game, if it does happen, because I know people are worried I'm jinxing it there, but if it does happen, Ireland, the benefit that they've got is they're going with very little changes per game that they are playing, only making the 2 this week up against Scotland in their starting lineup, compared with the All Blacks who made 9 changes in their last contest. And yes, you've got some decent players in form now for the ABs, but how do they fit into the team environment when you're trying to put together 15 out of all the players that are going well? And also we have got there, I guess, a very sound comment indeed. Don't gub Ireland, Hamish, mate, by assuming they'll beat the Scots, says Kernowick. Although the thing is, even if Scotland do beat Ireland, it's that bonus point / they have to also win by 21 that I think is too much of a booster that they'll need to be able to go through. Although saying that, I think in the points department, that is to knock out South Africa. So they might only have to beat the Irish by 8 to knock them out of the competition. So yeah, there's still a bit on the line. We have got there, not a chance of that, says Dillon. And no Captain James Ryan for the line out for Ireland, big loss, says Jimbo. Although he is coming off the bench in that contest up against Scotland. I see that they've gone with Henderson in the start and then James Ryan to finish off the game. Now on the halfway line, Sebastian Negri, Varney, going across the Garbisi. We saw the best attacking chance for Italy not too long ago, but now they need that back-to-back-to-back to get themselves back into this contest. Now to the right once more. Nice run from Juan Ignacio Brex, playing 13 for this game. One of the only real players in that midfield that have kept his spot and stayed in the same position. Bit of a counteract there from France, losing their footing though. Looks like there's an Italian player down in back play. So we slowly make our way towards that side of the field. Now Ferrari, we will have to stop due to the injured player. That's a massive 8 to be honest. Says Kalmak, and only 8 for Scotland to get to the quarterfinals. Says Kalmak, and I might be wrong, but Peter O'Mahony may unsettle a few Scots tomorrow, says John. And Ireland not mixing up the starting teams. Where'd that go? Isn't smart in my opinion, says Peter Wild. I guess, to be fair, it gives opposition a chance to see your side and I guess how they work together as one. But it's still, like, if you can avoid injury, which is the big thing for Ireland at the moment, I think they've only ended up with, I want to say 3 injuries or somewhere around there. They lost Sheehan before the Rugby World Cup, but he has just made his way back. I think they've recently lost Robbie Henshaw, if I'm correct. I think it's the most recent injury. How big should the score be in this first half to stop the game? Says Xander, I don't think they will. How big I think the score might end up being is I think we see France score at least once more, maybe even twice. And Love Capuzio says Dylan there. And also 76-0 for France, just to piss off our New Zealand coach, says Stan. And also we have got there 58, says Logan, in my fantasy team, cooking with these frogs today, says Craig. There's going to be now another free kick going the way of the Italians. Pass was not good from Varney, does hit the turf now. Pierre Bruno for his first touch, I believe, of this contest. Now Varney cross to Hami Fiver. In the midfield, they decide to shift it to the left now. Skip pass out to Montijuani. 1-on-1 with Pinot. Steps on the inside. Almost goes through Pietro Malvaca. Finds the offload up to Varney again. 40 metres out now for the Italians. They can score now. They aren't completely out of this game, but they would need a very big second half. And correct Henshaw is out, says Glenn Woods, because there was also, who was the, did they lose a prop near the start of the competition as well? I thought it was Cian Healy, but apparently he's going to be the replacement for Robbie Henshaw. So maybe his injury, if it was him, wasn't as bad as they first anticipated. Now, to the right-hand side once more. Quick hands, Montijuani passing it to no one. Pierre Bruno shut down by Belparis inside of their own half now, Italy. They've lost maybe about 30 metres throughout these 9 phases. Just the last thing that they want when they are trying to get back into that contest. Varney goes across now to Mikel Lamaro, the captain. Gives it to Pierre Bruno. Tries to get up and go again. To the left-hand side here. Hami Fiver. Just throws himself at the line. No concern for his own body when he does charge the way he does. Now Varney again goes across to the left-hand side. Nice run from Canoni once more. That was Niccolo Canoni, and the advantage goes the way of the Italians. 13 phases in and now looking like they are getting some go forward. Good low tackle made by the captain, Charles Olivon. They'll go back for the penalty. It was Cian Healy, yes, says Geza. So other than those two, have there been any other Irish injuries? Geza, do let me know, because I feel like those are the 2 main ones that I can remember, and there might have been one other. Speaking of Healy, no, Ben Healy in the Scottish squad. Right, we do see Capuzio now going off for the HIA. He is not happy about it, but he did take a knock earlier on. Are the crowd getting involved? I'll be honest, I don't think it's as loud for the crowd as I expected for this contest. It just seems to be more of the case of, like, they appreciate that their side are winning quite nicely. But, okay, significant knock-on from Jalabert, so it is going to be the deliberate, and Jack Coden back for Ireland, says Jimbo. So who did he come back in for? Was he for Cian Healy initially? No. It was someone else who came back in. but it wasn't Burn, I don't think. Disqualified, says Krampus. They should be disqualified. Who are we talking of, Krampus? I think I missed your first one. Or was it the crowd should be disqualified? I think they're allowed to check. Come on, Italy. Says Stormy. And also, there's been no major injuries apart from Healy and Henshaw. Says Gizzy and Kian Healy said he's fit if he's needed. Not the team fault, but the government that didn't update its laws accordingly. The comeback starts now, says Dylan, and now only 10 metres out from the line. Italy, after successfully winning their line-out, are still playing up against a 15-man French side, but if they can get France conceding a few more penalties just out from their own line, perhaps they can get their man advantage. Varney, short ball to Garbisi, goes to Juan Ignacio Brex, shut down by this French defence, although Galfiku looked like he was a little bit slower. Get him back to his feet. Going for the strip there was Jonathan Dante. Round with the pick and go was Bruno. Now 1 metre out for the line here for the Italians. Counter ruck from France, trying to make it messy. I believe there's a player who's left his feet. They do have to leave it. Garbisi now. Going across to the right here again. 1 metre out from the try line. Chance for the Italians to get back into this contest. Still 8 minutes remaining in the first half. But some great phase play coming here from Italy throughout the last little while. Now Varney going across once more. Good low tackle made on Sebastian Negri. Dante goes for the turnover. Doesn't get it. Now unfortunately has ended up underneath the breakdown. Italy, 12 phases just out from the try line. Can they get over it? Not yet. Juan Ignacio Brex shut down 5 metres out. Great tackle made by Luku. And Fiku slowing his momentum as well. Sebastian Negri thought about reaching out, but he's tackled low by Pietro Malvaca. Now Canoni, 16 phases. The Italians, great phase play to keep this ball in their hands up against a French defence that will not budge. Now Varney, he looked like he was going to stand on that breakdown. He tries to shuffle out. He's short of the line. He should put the ball back, but it seems like he was almost committed to thinking he had scored. He was short though. That is not the Italians. Score the first try of the match for themselves. And who is it? It is going to be Simone Ferrari. A man who has got a name like a car and has certainly shifted like one there. The Italians scoring their first try of the game. Go Italy, try scorers. And it is how do you spell Ferrari? That's the 2 R's there and the 1 there. There we go. But huge amount of patience needed for the Italians to not rush that, to just keep on going around the side of the breakdown and eventually push their way over with brilliant thinking, now that I think about it, because normally for a prop, his first reaction would be to go around the side and then just try and drop. Oh, hang on. What we got now? Hang on. They're going to go upstairs. Check, check, bang, says Dylan there. And build the phases, says Rodney. And because South African players could be cheating, says Krampus. Oh, that is nice for Italy, says Chloe. And well done, Italy, says Brian. Right, they're getting the angle here, Ferrari, says Brian. And also, were you trying to be Jeremy Clarkson there, says John Kerr? I was not, no, I don't know what he said in terms of Ferrari. I've actually never watched Top Gear, which disappoints all of my friends, because George, Daniel and Isaac, the other 3 Kiwi lads, they absolutely love Top Gear, but oh no, Ferrari's butchered it. He's had a car crash in the breakdown with Luku, and that is probably not just going to be a disallowed try, but that is also probably going to be a yellow card for Ferrari. And other than that, says Rodney. It's on to the chest, then it hits him in the head. I think this is going to cancel out Ferrari's try, which would be a big shame for Italy, definitely because they've thrown everything into those last maybe 25 phases that they've had just out from the line. They had about 15 that time, 10 the time before that. Good shoulder to the chest, says audio there. And also another big score to France because I got a France surname, says Perel. And there, and also where's my South Africans at, says Hilario. Hopefully I said that correctly. Right, they want to establish the degree of danger. Who is the next 9 in line for France? So it would be Baptiste Couillou as the next man, but I think that maybe Luku might have quite a sore face after that challenge. They've said it was on the chest first, then contact with the head. So it sounds like it is going to be just a penalty. And boom, Amish Mustache rocks this commentary. I just had a drinks break thirsty. Says Roof, he had a car crash. Says Tar, it's no try. Ferrari gets this one cancelled out. I guess the slight benefit for Ferrari, I know that this hurts a little bit, of course, but the benefit for Ferrari is it's a no try, but it's a penalty against him rather than a penalty against one of his teammates, if that makes sense. So at least he knows that he's the reason he didn't score rather than one of his teammates. Core knows the rules, chair. Says Paul there. 1 try in 2 weeks is disappointing, but France not reaching the 70 as wowie. Says the Wallaby, and Crazy Man says audio. So yeah, it will be the penalty to France. 5 metres out from their try line. They are just showing it there. Ferrari going in for the clean out. Ferrari had a car breakdown. Says go Travel Planet. And also, oh, come on, the French player was lowering. This is just not a pillow fight. Well, this is rugby, not a pillow fight. Geez, says Sutton. And now it looks like Italy. They have got themselves the penalty now. So now they will look to the corner. Can you update your clock? It shows 29 minutes. 1 moment. There we go. Oh, that's too far. Okay, it's 35 minutes through at the moment. So we won't update it for a little bit just so that it doesn't go too far ahead. The dislike try as Crumpus' fault. I just decided, says cited. And no yellow, thankfully, says Brian there. And has he ever been a Rugby World Cup as heavily scrutinised as this one? Probably not, no. But then saying that we probably, 2019, you could say yes to a certain extent in terms of the social media side of things. But this, now we've got a lot more social media, so a lot more people have got the option of talking. Oh, Italy kicked that one dead. I just realised that. They effed up the penalty, says Mimania. An Italian Ferrari could be a car or a man, says Albert. I'm making some fatis and Moniz spaghetti for halftime, says Hilario. It also come on France, only 3 tries, says the Wallaby. This World Cup is a farce. That's from an Irishman, says Karma Pitch. I think it's definitely still hasn't answered our question of whether or not we're going to see consistency from the referees, because the answer now is probably still no across the board. But France, they get the penalty advantage at scrum time and they will receive the penalty now. Oh, bit of push and shove. Eldred saying to Shaway. Oh, okay. Gregory Eldred just trying to tease the Italians a little bit, doing a bit of the hand gesturing like that, trying to get under their skin. It's probably working as well because Italy will be frustrated. They had their chance to score, but they weren't able to kick dead. What a waste, says Brian. And a chance to pressure France, and they blew it. Says BG Island of the box are smiling watching this match, let's be honest. Says Menzie, and hey, Hamish and subscribers just popping in to get an update. Say howdy, says Jody, welcome in. Great kick downfield from the French. Box to knock out France in the quarterfinals, says Champagne Lord. And also a penalty to France, a great kick for a line out, says Jonathan. And that is the big difference at the moment between these two sides. France, even though they have only got those 3 tries throughout this game, when they have had the opportunities to be able to score, they've been relatively clinical in that department. Now looking for this rolling ball once more. Pietro Malvaca going to the short side here. Luku waiting for the chance to grab that ball. Now decides to use it. Going off to the right-hand side. Galfiku. Ball line to Jaminet with the cross kick. Straight to Pinot. Scores another try, and that will now be the bonus point for France. Pinot just cannot avoid being able to score tries. He will almost be the leading try scorer in the competition by the end of this game. Pinot has received a gift from Jalabert, and that is a good try, says Jurgens. And also it is, that's it, Italy, says Stormy. And that was a beautiful kick under pressure. Yeah, almost having his legs taken out from underneath him as he was striking that ball. Not a lot of space or time at all for Jalabert to get that away. But Ramos is there. What do you think the Wallabies should do? Rate the NRL before the next World Cup or build the juniors first? Says Xavier. I think that they've got to try and build up the juniors side of things because the NRL, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to compete currently with the money that those NRL players are on. And the last thing that they want to do is chuck all of their money at, I mean, a perfect example is, I think it's Suali'i. They were looking at getting him in for 2024 or 25, I think it actually is. But, like, that is a large budget for one player that you could put into, you know, the lower levels of rugby to try and actually get some new players up through the rankings. And yes, the NRL, like, they've got some brilliant players in there, but if it's anything like Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, if it's anything like a few of the other league converts that we've seen, they're only going to play for a season or two, decide that they don't want it, and then they'll go back to the NRL because that's paying more money. So that's the tricky part for Australia. We have got the donation from Jonathan as well. Thank you very much, mate. France should keep on the pressure and make up the points differential with New Zealand. Don't think they will rest any players with a large lead, says Jonathan. And also love the way you drive the game with your voice, says Chloe. And exactly, says Krampus. And also, how can we have electric cars? We don't even have electricity in South Africa, says Stormy. And also we have SA Taxis and Uber, says Goldberg. Now, it's going to be Luku inside of the 22 with 1 minute remaining in this half. France has put that one into touch. Hamish has new fans, Chloe. Says Ruthia and Italy are going to win this game. I'm praying for them, guys. You got it, guys. Don't give up. Stay strong, guys. Says Kirsten. And also Alain Pinot should be put out to stud. He breeds fine wingers, says Kerno Wick. And also AB's third favourites against or after the French in the box, says Porter. It's nicely slapped back. Varney going across to the left-hand side. Nice pop pass up. Quick hands from this Italian side, but not quick enough in the breakdown. They get over it, not releasing penalty. Won by Jonathan Dunty. Doing beautifully there. We have good there. Hey, Hamo. Anyone else think that the clean-out according against the Italians was soft? Says Tony, there were quite a few messages in the chat. I'm glad that it wasn't given as a yellow, though. That is the big thing, because if it somehow was, that would have been disastrous, I think. And going to have to pray very hard for Italy to win, says Andrew. And also we have got there, what's the score, says Steve. At the moment it is 31-0 in favour of the Italians, in favour of the French, and they have still got one last kick. I love Hamish's personality very much, says Chloe. And I've been busy, lots of people at the barn in Wellington tonight. Only just tuned in, was hoping Wales would be in the lead, says Bruce. I assume that's Italy in the lead. And also Dante, Damien D, says Jimbo. And now Ramos lining up this kick, and he's actually missed it. That does not often happen. But that is going to be halftime now, ladies and gentlemen. 31 points to 0 in favour of the French. There has also been the news that Capuzzo has not passed his HIA, so he will not be returning out onto the field for the rest of this contest. And I guess that will be the end of his Rugby World Cup for the Italians. As Italy getting left by the ref here, says Thabo, and I thought so, says Steve. And do you think Ireland will choke next week versus New Zealand? I don't believe so. I feel like if there was ever a time for the Irish to be prepared to go head-to-head with New Zealand, like this is the week, or next week is the week that they will definitely look to do it. So, yeah, I don't see them butchering it under the pressure. I feel like it's going to be a highly competitive game. And, yeah, hopefully both sides put in a great showing. Oh, yeah, I've got there. Can you not stream the game for us? Sadly, due to licensing, if we show any match footage or audio, we get taken straight off YouTube and banned for 3 months. So for that reason, we do just do the play-by-play. And then also the highlights will be up on YouTube after the match is finished, though. The officiating seems to be improving. Hopefully, by the final, there won't be any complaints from fans, coaches, or players alike, says PG Islander. I can guarantee you that even if the officiating is 100% correct, there still will be, though. That is just the unfortunate truth, which is, like, everyone has their own, I guess, interpretations of laws, and sometimes that can be a slight problem, if that makes sense. Half-time time for the G&T, says Brian. And also looked like it was his eye, though, says Audio. And both sides are showing a great showing, says Krampus. I mean, France, like, they've had some good moments throughout this. Some brilliant tries being scored. Belbari, Damien Pinot has 2, and Ramos scoring the other. For Italy, they were extremely close after repeated phases just out from the line, just not quite able to turn it into the points and actually crossing the line, but then having it disallowed for the foul play. And the breakdown, everyone in the world will get free energy, free electricity, part of Gisara that's been implemented, says Bruce. And also, what has Kieran Crowley done to this Italian team? He's a good mate, but they're looking underwhelming this Rugby World Cup, says Ian Foster. And what do you think of the refs, says Kevin? I mean, they've certainly been looking at everything out there. Marius Jonker has had quite a role to play throughout this game. The South African TMO, he's probably been busier than Carl Dixon was the referee. Why don't they do full replays on YouTube no more? I have no idea, and I have no idea why they wouldn't either, which is the annoying part. I feel like the perfect way to get people invested in this Rugby World Cup is to show them what they're theoretically missing out on. So it would be great if they, because they did it for the first, did they do it for the first round of the Rugby World Cup? I think they did like some full match replays or something, and then after that they just got rid of it, unfortunately. We have got there's his ask to Italy, says Luke, and yes, hoping Italy would be in the lead. My mistake, says Bruce. Yes, they will be in the lead for sure, says Kirsten. Well, they're certainly going to need a massive second half here to be able to walk away with a victory in this contest. But we know in the world of rugby, nothing is impossible. They're going to need a massive start to the second 40 minutes. A lot more possession in their favour would go a long way. But I should mention, anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are on the road to 37,000 subscribers, so if you do want to help us out, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have got some stats here. I've also got a stat, which is it's only 24 days away from the rugby, or in fact 22 days away from the Rugby World Cup final now, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty close. Only 14 games after this one are going to be taking place, that last one being the final. But the stats for this game, the most points throughout it, have been Thomas Ramos with 16, most tackled Charles Olivon with 11. Tommaso Allen, surprisingly, has had the most running meters throughout this game with 56, and the most carries over the gain line has been Gregory Aldred with the 8. 58% territory in favour of France and 58% in favour of them. For the possession, running meters relatively similar, with the edge going to the French, and they've also beaten 11 defenders along the way, which has helped them just that little. But more line-out steals. We have seen 2 from France so far from the Italian lineouts. And penalties conceded at 7 against Italy and 4 against France. Be realistic, Italy cannot win this game. Who are so in denial. Score is already 31-0. Come on, says Desmond. And all the best, Italy. You'll win for sure. Got faith in you, says Kirsten. And also we've got there go France. You're the best team, says FA, and South Africa versus Ireland in the final, says Stan. And also we've got there France will win and 40,000 subscribers by the final. Go the Kiwi lads, says Kurt. And also what is the time, says Berenice. Currently at its halftime in this contest. Do you think Ireland will be rotating their, or have been rotating their team enough? I honestly feel like for the Irish, at the moment, they have done something that not many sides have done throughout this Rugby World Cup, and they have backed a team all throughout the game, or all throughout the competition. It's a risk, but at the moment, I don't think it's going to be something that hurts the Irish, because they've only walked away with 2 injuries so far, Cian Healy and Robbie Henshaw. If they lose a couple players in this game, up against Scotland, it would hurt them quite drastically, definitely if they are big team players, but I still feel like for Ireland, if they've found that chemistry and they've found that team that they know is strong enough to continue this winning streak, then I don't think they'll want to change it anytime in the near future. We have got there lots of money, makes everything free, says Goldberg there. And also France directionless without Dupont, says Jimbo. And also, do you think Ireland have been rotating their... Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And if Italy lose by more than 40 points, says Tucker. I believe my prediction was Italy to lose by 40, wasn't it? So maybe I'm not quite in the right category there. It could actually be a little bit higher. Do you still have a channel with BKR Sports? Says Steve. I think the channel is still up from when we used to do the rugby podcast. We have got a new podcast now with myself and Rugby Itch, which is the Rugby Recap. I almost forgot the name of it, but yeah, it is each week that we do a preview and a review of the World Rugby side of things. The time is man-made concept in order to organise themselves, says Krampus. And also we have got there in the chat one moment. There we go. The Irish have backed their solid team and has solidified their main team. Anyone that joins will only feed into that, says John Kerr. And yeah, it's completely different to what the All Blacks have been doing throughout the last little while, because they have been making like kind of that 9 changes or so per starting lineup. And you wonder whether or not when they do go back to their, I guess what some would call their strongest team, whether or not there would be the chemistry that they require. DuPont was chewing gum on the sideline, so his jaw can't be that bad. And also, I can't become a channel member. The join button isn't working, says Dylan there. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to become, or not become a channel member, sorry, but become, or be sure to hit that like button, was what I was trying to say. We are on the road at the moment to 37,000 subscribers. We are 2 away from reaching 36,800. And also, we are only 60 likes away from hitting 200 likes on this live stream. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button. Let's see if we can get to 200 by the time the second half does begin. Box will beat France and New Zealand will beat Ireland, says Petrie. And also we have got there, DuPont didn't break his jaw. He broke his eye socket, says Krampus. Yeah, although it's all connected in it. It wouldn't feel nice chewing when you got a problem there, because I guess, you see that moving? It's all slightly attached. PS Sports acts like a little child. So Steve, I think it's just like he's passionate. I feel like that's a good way of describing it. At the end of the day, like he loves the sport and he loves getting behind his side. So I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, he enjoys watching the teams play. So, you know, I agree the Irish has been good, says Chloe. How heavy is Capuzzo? Anyone? I don't think he'd be any heavier than about 75 kgs. To be honest, you eat funny, says Kurt. Yeah, although I was working on the theory that was his eye, because currently it doesn't look flash. So, like, it's still half close, so that's why, you know, your cheekbone's all up there, isn't it? Are you always close with the score, says Chloe. And also, do you think this French team can be beaten? I believe so. I think any side in this Rugby World Cup can be beaten, and that is what makes it so fun. Because when we get to those playoff games, the importance of playing well will be huge. Let me see it. I'll give it a free membership, says Robert. That is very generous of you. Right? He's 76 kg, says Jaden. Tell you what, 75 was a decent guess, wasn't it? Maybe it's just he's weighed himself in the morning rather than at night time when he gets the 75. And DuPont taking the field with that jaw is absolutely crazy, says Mumbo Jumbo. And shame on everybody, says Grumpus. And also the Scott says Eddie. Who's the top try scorers in the competition so far, says Johan. So it was Harry Arundel and Darcy Graham. But I believe now Damien Pinot might almost have overtaken it and now might be in the top. We have got a new channel member, and it is Dylan. So thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. And there in France to lift the cup, says Andre Berger. And also a gifted membership from Robert has taken place. And Jimbo got the membership. So Jimbo, you now have access to the exclusive emojis on the channel as well. So be sure to be using those there. But thank you very much for your generosity there, Robert. It is greatly appreciated. There was a try. I can't wait to see DuPont's face taken off, says Thabo. And France to lift the cup, says Andre. And also we've got their English fans will be singing. It's coming home until they get to the semis. Well, that's the thing. It's such a tricky competition from here on out for the sides. And I feel like at the moment, like, there's just some really tough matchups just around the corner. We've actually got it here. These are the matches that are taking place. Now, I should mention England are the only side at the moment who are completely secure in the position on the table where they are. So they are going to be playing the runner-up of Pool C. At the moment, that will be either Fiji or Australia, or if something drastic happens for the Wales game, there is actually a chance that we can see a chance of Wales versus England, a little bit of a Six Nations rematch. But New Zealand, they will either be the winner of Pool A or the runner-up in Pool A, so there's a chance that they play in this game. But more than likely, that will be Ireland versus New Zealand, and this game here will be South Africa versus France. Is the way that it's looking like it's going to be shaping up. But of course, it is very hard to tell. We've got the Hamish emojis in there from Dylan, as well as the crying George emoji from Jimbo in the chat as well. What happens in Pool B if Scotland draw with Ireland? I believe if that is the case, Ireland go through as number 1 and South Africa go through as number 2. I think that is how it ends up going. If that does end up as a draw, I don't like South Africa or Australia's success either. Says Glenn Woods, and I thought Australia was eliminated. Says AK12. Not quite. If Fiji are unable to get themselves a losing bonus point up against Portugal, or any form of point up against the Portuguese, then it will be Australia who make their way through. If it's Wales versus England, I'm buying a Wales dot, says Cal Mac. Mapimpi also smashed his eye socket. No red card for the offender, says Goldberg. Although in that case, I can understand why it wasn't. Like, to be honest, that one was surprising with the fact that somehow Mapimpi ended up with that much damage. Because, yeah, like Augustine Pulu, he didn't mean anything by the tackle. Like, he was already ducking down to his knee. And I think the other thing that hurt a little bit in terms of the argument of the yellow card was, of course, it looked like light contact, but Mapimpi was leading with his head out. And I feel like in that case, he almost became the mitigating factor because he was ducking as well. So it was an unfortunate one for Mapimpi that he did end up with that injury, but I don't think there was going to be a card from it. Like a yellow would have been harsh in that scenario, I believe. Did George retire? Says Jimbo. He is not. He's still about. It's just a bit of a shame that his working schedule alongside our streaming schedule at the moment are completely broken, I guess you could say, but we're hoping to have him on relatively soon. It may not be for Rugby World Cup games, but we've got a few other live streams around the corner that we might end up having George back on the channel just because it's been a while. I feel like it's been a good maybe 3 months since we had one of the other Kiwi lads on the channel. There's curtain raisers on both quarterfinal days from the other side of the draw. Says Kurt. Yes, they would be actually. Now that you say that, so I believe one side it looks like it is going to be either Argentina or Japan taking on the Welsh. Does seem like the more likely affair. Can't spoil haggis with that swill, says Gareth in there. And also, you know, drinking Irish whiskey and eating haggis, says Flesh. And why there's so many head injuries in this World Cup, never seen anything like it. Unfortunately, it is really unfortunate, and it seems to be the tackling that has been hurting. I don't know whether or not it's just because the players are tackling just that little bit higher now. I think the 6-match ban for the Namibian was harsh. Says Suran. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because he did really get him good. He was almost like a diving challenge to the head. And Hamish, what about this World Cup has been the most enjoyable for you, says Stormy? I'll be honest, like, I know that you guys you're cheesy, mate. But I think the thing that I've enjoyed the most about this World Cup is getting to meet so many people through the chats, and also the fact that we've been able to have so many of our regular viewers popping in and out throughout the live streams. I feel like this World Cup wouldn't be the same if I was just watching it without you guys, so for that I am very appreciative of you all being here. And like I've always said, like, without you guys, these streams they aren't the same. So it is all down to you guys being here that has also made this World Cup such an enjoyable one. And I average, says Kurt. Am I having to Phil Kearns? Not sure. And go on then, says Crumpus. But it is going to be kicked off for the second half, ladies and gentlemen. 40 minutes down, 40 to go. We love watching you too, says Dylan. And also playing the same team throughout. The Irish may have some sore bodies come to quarterfinals or semi-finals if they do progress, says Sutton. Very true, although it could also be that players just stay in form. And click, click, bang, says Kurt there. And hello, says Yvonne, welcome in. You are doing extremely well. It's going to be the penalty to France early on the halfway line. Piotr Malvaka, he knew he had won that penalty before he'd even won it. Knew that he was set. A really terrible game. Sick to my back teeth of these blowouts, says Yvonne. And also we have got, we are appreciative having you too, Hamish, says Rishan. And also Namibian My Heroes, with their experience, they brought their side, says Eddie. And your head zombie. Yeah, hearing that sung around South Africa and Ireland stadium was just incredible, I do have to say. But that kick is mistouched from Jalabert as well. It just seems to be that corner at the moment that seems to be hurting. And what sort sadist do you have to be to put all of those drawings on your neck, Says JP. I assume you're talking about Monty Ioane there. I totally agree. Hamish, all the sparkling personalities here makes a difference, says Brian. And how much do commentators earn, says Samuel. I'm not sure about the international commentators, but I'd hope that it's more than I do, because I work a full-time job alongside YouTube so that I can fund my living. And then, as you guys know, any money made off the YouTube channel goes straight back into our YouTube channel to try and improve it. And yeah, that is why I work a full-time job alongside it. I'm listening to Cool and the gang get down on it. Come on, Italy. You can do it. And the current laws makes it really hard to clean someone out over the ball. No easy angles. Always going to slide up. Come in with momentum, says Salvatore. What is your full-time job? I am a builder throughout the week. So yeah, went and picked up a window yesterday, which we did have to drive for like 2 hours with, which was absolutely scary because the roads around here are not very flat, and it was very worrying that it was going to break. As Rugby think of the Gladiators, says Goldberg. Now scrumpied near the halfway line for France, just inside of Italian territory. Very enjoyable with you too, says Chloe. And also we have there, haha, says Luke. And there, but another penalty goes the way of the French at scrum time. I would guess that Rassi would end up as the World Cup organizer, or organisation as an administrator the next 3 years, or administrator, sorry. It'll be interesting where Rassi goes from here, because he's currently the director of South African rugby, isn't he? I think is the title that he's got. Oh, looks like Zuliani's going to come onto the field, and also Fusco is not too far from replacing Stephen Varney. And also, is this lad barking through his ass? Says Andrew, that depends. Are you looking in a mirror, Andrew, or are you talking about myself? The big show says Krampus. And also, hey, Bob says Eddie. And now Lamaro. Going to be a little bit of a blood-bin scenario by the looks of it. He's confused at why he's being taken off the field. But yeah, they've decided to take the captain off. He's going, why? Why am I off? Rassi is going to coach after this World Cup until 2025, says Dylan. Now inside of the 22 as a South African, I am leaning towards the Rugby League nowadays. I'm intrigued, says Bystander. And I think South Africa do actually have a game coming up in Rugby League, if I'm not wrong. That is going to be another penalty against now Zuliani, the man who just made his way onto the field. Wrong according to Google. China have over 300 languages and India over 100, says Trajan. And also I heard he's coming back to Ireland, but maybe you're right, says Porter. Now Jalibert to kick for the corner once more. Every time Italy get into a scrum scenario, or almost even a breakdown scenario in the second half, they have been conceding a penalty. And Rassi is the GOAT, says Mimania. From a bookmaker's point, we now have France firm favourite at 3-1 to win the World Cup, says Andre Berger. I think the big thing for like the odds and whatnot is there's no clear favourite, is there? Or at least the last time I checked there wasn't. There were about 4 teams who had a really good chance of going on to win it. And all 4 of those sides were actually the sides taking part in Pool A and Pool B of this Rugby World Cup competition. Now 10 metres out from the line, another penalty. This time it is going to be against Juan Ignacio Brex that was diving in off the feet. 10 metres out from the line, France. I believe they'll back their scrum here. Or they might even consider going for the corner. Andre, as good as the word on the street of match fixing, says Mimania, right, they are going for the scrum now by the looks of it. Hami Fiver trying to fire up his team. But at this stage, just penalty after penalty after penalty has been hurting them. That's why you have that good personality, says Chloe. And also, no man, says Eddie. And also, South Africa gets nothing until the Dutch arrive, says Krampus. Well, I would not bet against New Zealand or the French, says Porter. What about the Irish? They're your side, Porter. Why aren't you backing the Irish to go on and win the Rugby World Cup this year? And Ireland, France, New Zealand, and South Africa would have made dream semi-finals. Yep. It's just a shame that, it's a shame we don't get to see it in the semis, but I'm glad to a certain extent we got to see some of it in the group stage, just because at least we get to see it a little bit. But yeah, they would have been some pretty awesome semi-final fixtures if that was going to be the case. Now Gelange hasn't had a huge amount of carries throughout this game, but 5 metres out from the line here. France. Oh, that's a scorpion. That was a very weird landing for the French player, Pietro Malvaca, getting chopped down like he was an oak tree. And 6 languages in Ireland, says Kelmac. Now only a few metres out. Around this side of the breakdown, Charles Olivier driven backwards once again because nerves. Says Porter. And also the truth says Krampus. And also can South Africa learn a lot, says Cheslin. I believe that every team in this Rugby World Cup will still be learning, which is the important thing. As soon as a side feels that they are the best and they get complacent, that is when normally the upsets happen. But South Africa, they're one of those sides that love being able to learn from their games, look to improve, whether that's selection-wise or just tactically. I think South Africa will still have a lot of tricks up their sleeve. For this Rugby World Cup, Jalabert, he carves through the Italian defence, scores the try, and that will be the first of the second half. That will now make the score 36 points to 0. Jalabert, there we go. Scoring the try in the 47th minute. There's currently two players in that back line, or in fact 3, sorry. Pierre Bruno, Paulo Garbisi, Juan Ignacio Brex. If those 3... Oh, no, there's still... Wait, sorry, I'm reading the wrong team there, first of all. Dante and Galfiku is what I meant. They are the only 2 in that backline who haven't scored, alongside Luku, who I believe might be going off the field relatively soon for Baptiste Kuyu anyway. Nice try scored through the gap. We have got there. Any of you play Super Brew? We've got quite a few viewers who do take part in a bit of Super Brew. I personally do not because I'm terrible at predictions. Like, really, really bad. Why aren't they officiating the latching? Says Rodney there. Are they going upstairs for this one? No, they are not. We are there, 21 Italy running backwards. Says Annoying Awesome, says Eddie. I think France will reach 50. A nice try, says Kalaya. So it's France that can play a man off the ball at every moment. Ref does nothing. Italy does it once and it's a penalty, Says Democracy, and I love the game, says Sean. And also did Jalabert click, boom off the back of the scrum, says Glenn Woods. Tell you what, if there was ever a time to make a t-shirt, it would have to be a chick bang one, wouldn't it? I feel like that would be very strategic marketing, but I'd have to learn how to do that. But that would be a decent idea. I feel like at least 2 of you guys would probably buy a chick bang shirt if we did design one. Crazy stuff, says Fiji Islander. And go with the gut, says Eddie there. I always say our South African game loves pressure, or guys love pressure, then they start playing. Says Chloe, and a merch, says Rodney, and Wee says SG. And there's now Charles Olivon tackled well, and thanks at Jimbo for the membership. Says AK12, wait, did Jimbo just gift a membership as well? A moment. He did. He gifted 5. Sorry, that didn't even come through on my live streaming software, but the ones who got the membership was AK12, Kwasi got a membership, Grant got a membership. I didn't even know Grant was lurking on this live stream. Brian got himself one as well, and then Gus is the other man who got the gifted membership from Jimbo. We have got there, I think Italy being killed by one-sided ref, says Fugri now passing on the outside. That was a rough pass. And I think that is now going to be... What have they called that as? I think there was a knock-on somewhere along the way there. Strategic game. And I was like, welcome, okay, says Jimbo. And thanks, Jimbo, says Gus. And there as well. And W at Jimbo. Says bystander. But now 50 minutes down in this contest. Currently sitting 38 points to 0. Well, I didn't know that. Thanks a billion, Jimbo, says Grant. And also Russia top guy, says Andre. And there, that one is going to be stolen by France once more. Olivon finds us off their way to Sirobayi. Now Jalabert off to Fiku, one of the lone try scorers, or one of the men who haven't scored a try throughout this one. And congrats on your memberships, guys, says Justin. And also we have good there, all the South Africans are trolling me, says Krampus. And Drew Desmond, that's how we go on to win with a 5-3, says Cheslin. So question, Cheslin, for yourself, who is your starting 8 and who is your guy coming off the bench? Because I know that for me, I almost went in favour of the 6-2 because I want a Quagga Smith as well as the option of using Jasper Wiese off the bench. But yeah, it's a tricky one. That is the choice. Up brothers, on a different subject, that Black Caps win was a beauty, eh? Says AK12, yes, starting their World Cup very, very well, the Black Caps. Ravindra doing well, and Devon Conway also getting a lot of runs. Got bored watching it. Fair play to you watching every game. Says John MC, although I always say, you guys being in the chat always makes these games a lot more fun as well. Like, we've had some absolute blinders of games throughout this Rugby World Cup. And then some of the slightly quieter ones are the ones where we get to chat to you guys just that little bit more, which are normally a lot more fun in that regard as well. Now 5 metres out from the line, Italy. Chance here to score themselves a try, but Galfiku takes it and steals it from the back of the breakdown. Now Ramos, skip pass out to Barry, goes for the banana kick on the inside. But Italy are back, ready to scramble. Cleaned up by Patti. At the back, counter-ruck from the French. They get another penalty in the breakdown. I love how every time Hamish says a French name, he has a nose block. Says it was there from Kelmac. Oh, they wanted a quick tap there. Cameron Walkie thought that he had a decent chance. Abel Beaumont is to blame for all this fast, says Karma. And also, come on Italy, get one try, says Brian there in the laughing face from Gareth. And there as well. Now 28 minutes remaining. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated you all being here for the stream. We are currently on the road to 37,000 and we are only 195 subscribers away. So if you do want to help us out, it is greatly appreciated. We've got plenty more Rugby World Cup just around the corner, including, but not limited to. I like saying that. That kind of, it sounds fancy, doesn't it? Even though it's just a sentence. We have got Wales versus Georgia. Fingers the wrong way. There we go. That makes more sense. Wales, Georgia, taking place at 2 a.m. Then also, we have got England versus Samoa. Why does my hand look purple and huge? I'm looking like Barney the dinosaur, although he didn't have hands. England, Samoa at 4:45 a.m. Then Ireland versus Scotland, the game. Straight after that, Japan versus Argentina. That will be the first game of 3 on the Monday. That is a decider to see who makes their way through as a part of Pool D. Tonga, Romania, and then Fiji, Portugal, the other chance. And tell you what, in all that, France have been able to roll their way over the try line for the rolling maul, and they get themselves yet again another try in this contest. Unfortunately there, the defence from the Italians just wasn't quite able to stop the momentum of Pietro Malvaca. Does now get his second try of the Rugby World Cup. They were 5 metres out and just slowly waiting patiently for that chance. It didn't really look like it was moving, but then just half a little burst off the back from Pietro Malvaca meant that he went over and scored the try for the French. Look at their starting 8 will be Dwayne, says Chiselin there. And also Hamish, you are carrying the channel, says Dylan. Thank you very much. And Hamish can pronounce these foreign names very well, rocking a big time Hamish. And Grant Williams can have a 9, 10 and wing, or even 10, and 15 at a push. So I'll be on the bench for the box. Amazing speed, says Albert, and almost 37,000 subscribers, says Grant. Yeah, we are closing in on that number. And also Barney had a tail, says Crown. He did. That is very true. Your hands are a proven fact. You work hard, says Chloe. And also thank you so much, says Classy there. And don't forget the likes and sub, everyone, says Brian. That one has gone over now for France, making the score 45 points to 0. Bada bing. So those French type 5 going good by the sounds of it. I'm proudly South African, says Andre Berger. And also appreciate Jimbo, says Kwasi, and Quagga Smith on the bench with 1 lock and 3 front row, says Chiselin. And also we need relegation to the Six Nations, says Donovan. And new French scrum half, time for a power up, says Jimbo. And also Burret, he is on the field. Rida Wardi also making his way out there to replace Cyril Bailly. And then Olivon is off. And Francois Cruz has made his way on. Kick downfield from the French. Oh, Patti. Running it fast. Kuyu on there for Luku. Placement. Halfback. Nice tackle made by Charles Olivon. Italy are yet to get themselves a try throughout this game. That's a knock on out wide from Federico Rusa. And I think France might even consider going for this quick one. They decide against it in the end. We have got there France. Pump the ABs. Says Callamack and France won't get 90 points, says Desmond. I like, says Eddie Harvey. And talking to teams throwing games, I'm sure Wales would prefer to play England in the quarters, says Fleshin. Well, it'll be an interesting one, won't it? Because I think there's still a way for Wales to finish second, isn't there? And that is if they lose to Georgia and Fiji win. I believe that's the easiest way of it changing, but I think there's bonus points that need to be involved as well. Crumbus' biggest fear is being ignored, says Dylan. It's deep, isn't it? Tier 2 teams need to be able to play against Tier 1 so they can grow, says Go Travel Planet. Exactly right. I think this World Cup has been the perfect example. Sometimes when those lower teams play the top teams, it actually fires them up to that next level. And also we have got there, good to see you today, mate, says Lee. It's good to see you too. And of course, we have got plenty more rugby coming up over the next 2 days. 3 games back to back to back tomorrow. And alongside that, it is going to be the matchups, 3 of which taking place on Monday morning, New Zealand time. Hamish, your Chick Chick Bang is your adaptation of the 1968 movie called Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So somehow, somewhere, you came across that movie, says Immerman. And also we need World Cup every 4 years, every 2 years, 4 years too long. Rugby not growing fast enough in the weaker countries, says Porter. And Hamish, I missed the first half. Has it been a good game so far? I mean, it's been a decent performance from France. Italy have shown fighting moments, but just haven't been able to get themselves enough possession nor attacking play to really be able to mount a comeback. Hamish, we in South Africa have our own commentators. We South Africans like watching you. Awesome work, keep it up, says Grant. And yeah, it is hugely appreciated, the amount of support that we have had from South Africa and all around the world throughout these Rugby World Cup games, as well as, we've got the URC around the corner. We are going to be covering that on the channel, so that will be, once again, an awesome one to cover. Watching the Bulls, the Sharks, the Stormers, and the Lions all get the crack up against the likes of Leinster, Munster, a few Scottish and Welsh teams in there as well, the Ospreys, Glasgow. Great competition. Do you think that Italy would have made it out of their group if they were in Group C or D? It is hard to say, because there's been good moments from Italy throughout this World Cup, and then there have been really bad ones. Is it Chick Chick or Chit Chit? I went with Chick Chick, I believe, when I said points difference. Says Eddie. Do you still do gaming streams? We haven't done any gaming streams in quite some time, but we would like to get back into them after the World Cup when we get a little bit of extra time. Free nice run from Damien Pinot. Had the ball stripped clean, though, by Juan Inacio Briggs, able to take it back for the Italians. Now through the hands of the replacement half back there, though. Fusco. Now Montigiani going kicking behind, cleaned up by Ferrari. In fact, no, this time it is going to be Riccioni. And one thing is, as Tier 2 teams getting better, so do Tier 1 teams. We won't stand still and let them catch up. If we can help it, says Fleshin. And also, thanks. I had too many cold Jalabiz. I think that was from Stretch. Hopefully I've said that correctly. Still 22 minutes remaining in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Another big tackle made by El Diegre. Do you guys miss Super Rugby? South African Super Rugby? I honestly don't notice it that much, mainly because, for myself, I cover URC as well as covering the Super Rugby comp. So, I get to see the South African teams anyway, if that makes sense. I love the commentary, Hamish. I now am tuning in for games that I wouldn't normally, because of your channel, says Vespa. That is absolutely awesome to hear. We have still got, I believe, 14 more games of the Rugby World Cup after this one. So we've still got a little bit remaining in the comp, but a few massive games just around the corner. Of course, the quarterfinals starting up next week. Need relegation from the Six Nations. And also we've got there, Italy just moving nowhere with running ball. Need aerial pressure, says Audio. Contact in the air. It's actually going to be a penalty to Italy in this case. I believe that is against Pierre Bruno, or in favour of Pierre Bruno. Yeah, just dragging him down as he made his way to the ground. Some would call it a little bit of a softer penalty, but it is in the law book that you are not allowed to grab at the player as he is landing. Italy exhausted already, says Jimbo. And also French on the flying high, no stopping them now. Appreciate the coverage too, especially of the Springboks, New Zealand, Ireland. I think these are the 3 top finishers, Says Jonathan, I'm also tuning in for more games. I mute them on the TV and listen to you. Says Dylan, now line out here for fiver. Chance for Italy. Try and get themselves something on that scoreboard. It would look a lot better if there was a number there rather than 0. Now attack and play. Paulo Garbisi runs straight at Jonathan Dante. He's a brave man. But Dante getting onto the ball. Doesn't release though, so does end up giving away the penalty for the Italians. Dante apologising. Having a bit of a laugh about it as well. Springboks will wear a pirate badge over the flag with honour, says Albert. And they need it, says Grant. And also the Italians have actually played worse than they did last week, says Fiji Islander. I think it's hurt them more this week in terms of they've felt like they've had a good chance at times to be able to score, but just haven't been able to. Hang on. Jalibert, the penalty's been reversed by the referee. I'm not too sure who reversed that one, but that's an interesting call. To give the penalty against Jonathan Dante, to then give him the penalty afterwards, Italy will be really confused there. Oh no, the referee just put up his wrong arm, I think, in that case. They can't stop the fans flying the flag in the crowd, so don't really care. Can't expect us to rewrite words in our constitution to suit them. Says Gareth. Now Ramosi will be off the field. That is for Jaminet. And Galfiku also making his way off the field for Mofana. Oh, let's talk about Tier 2 teams. Whatever happened to Canada? They were up and coming a few years. Says Glenn, it's just, unfortunately, the big thing of they missed out on qualifying due to losing their games that they had in the qualification process. They had a chance up against Chile and the USA, and both times they did walk away as the side on the wrong side of the victory. So, yeah, unfortunately for them, that is why they did end up missing out. We're good there. Can you please do Super Rugby Pacific Challenge 5? Says Valine. Is that just the regular Super Rugby Pacific competition, Valine? Because if it is, we are covering that on the channel in February, or is it a different competition that you are talking about? And now it's been knocked backwards. Damien Pinot singing it off to Mofana. Now the ball is loose, nicely popped up by Jalibert. Now off to Mofana, who's already got a bit of space opening up on the outside. Balbari does cut inwards. Nice tackle made on him, though, by the replacement. Italian fullback Pani. Big run from Taufa Fanua, breaking through 2 Italian defenders. El Diegri. So he will go to the right with this one. Jalibert offloaded up to Birgit. That's very well for La Rochelle. I was waiting for that first, says Chloe. And I was have a water break, says Idiots. As if you read my mind. Damien Pinot now taken down again low by Kanuni. Birgit, 10 metres out now from the line still for France as they move up to 5 phases. And speaking of 5, Federico Rusa does go down with that one. Going to the right. Now slinging pass from Jalibert. Bit of class shown and Mofana scores it in the corner. But Jalibert, he has done a cross kick that led to a try assist. He has done a pass when he was falling that has led to a try assist. He's had a very strong game at 10 for this contest. 63 minutes in, Mofana scores his first try of the Rugby World Cup competition, and France now have the 50. Italy hasn't scored a try yet. Not yet. They were close to scoring one, and then it was disallowed due to a shot and a breakdown. That did end up with it getting reversed. So if Italy score, will it be called a pizza pie? Says Glenn Woods. That was a big yawn, wasn't it? So looking forward to the Irish-Scotland game tomorrow, says Craig Green, and we are going to be covering it on the channel as well. Can you please do the Rugby World Cup final, says Baleen. We are going to be covering the World Cup final on the channel, yes. Alongside every other game that is coming up of the Rugby World Cup. So we have still got another 14 games remaining. And Fozzie needs to get rid of some Blues players. Too many for a rubbish side, says Trajan. And also, I think Italy is tired after beating the box, says Samuel. And officiating in this game is absolutely absurd. The French were offside twice in 1 minute between the 51st and 52nd minute. The ref didn't call it, says Johan, and hope you get some rest damage, says Judy. Although, of course, we've got the all-nighter tonight that we will be doing throughout the games. Hamish nearly lost his hand there, says Calmac, especially Etzebeth. And also, geez, you nearly swallowed me in, says Chloe there. And it's the last try wins. We playing again, says Audio. And so disappointed with Italy after their performance in the last Six Nations. Yeah, they look promising. And to be honest, they started this competition off with some promisingness. That's not a word, but started promising as well with 2 tries, or sorry, not 2 tries, 2 wins with bonus points up against Namibia and Uruguay. Etzebeth is definitely always purging on a roid rage, says Aiden. I don't think so. I think even Etzebeth, he's just a fiery individual. He just plays with a lot of passion. You look terrible, Amy, says Jared Rollins. I'll take it. I feel like I have been told worse, so that's probably not too bad. I think that the lack of sleep throughout this Rugby World Cup has probably been catching up on us, and you will slowly see the under eyes start to get darker and darker as the World Cup progresses. What happened to Italy? Are they lactose intolerant? Too much cream in the French, says Anthony. I think it's just, unfortunately, they haven't really performed their last 2 games, and I mentioned about defensively, making so many switches in their backline was always going to hurt them. Promisingness, we'll take it, says Fiji Islander. And also we have got their PD equals performance enhancing drugs. That does indeed. And also we got their Springboks already, says Rudy. And also, Calmac, go ahead, says Roof there. And also, Crumpus, you hold him down. I'll do the test, says Stan. Now it's going to be kicked in behind. I believe that was not on by Balbari. So Italy now back in position. Now Pani sitting 10 metres in from the halfway line. I do see what Etzebeth did to Alan Alatoa, says Glenn Woods. I assume it's in terms of like him. He did this and he was looking at him, wasn't he? For Alan Alatoa and Etzebeth. I assume that's the one we're talking about. And Italy officiating considered Tier 2. Going forward, says Victor. Or officially considered Tier 2 going forward. And Hamish, how do you see ABs against Ireland? If that should happen, says Peter Mason. I see Ireland, at the moment, I would give them the advantage. Mainly because, well, that's the thing. Historically, you give the ABs the advantage, of course. But currently, with the fact that they have gone with that same side time and time again, I feel like that heavily benefits the Irish compared to New Zealand, who have made quite a few changes in their last couple of games. So if New Zealand can get their lineup right, I think it will be a really competitive game, and perhaps the ABs can even walk away with the victory. But if the All Blacks get the selection wrong, I see the stability and the consistency of Ireland being able to help them in that quarterfinal match. The USA and Canada are rubbish. That's why they aren't there. And yep, Food raged him and held him at arm's length. Says Glenn Pollard is back on. Backing is Warren. Says Rudy. Hopefully I read that correctly. Can only get 1 try. I'd like to see them get 1, but at this stage of the match with 13 minutes remaining, I don't think we've really seen too much in the last little while that says they'll be able to. I feel like Italy are much worse in this tournament. They pushed France within 5 points back in February, says Dylan. Yeah, they started the competition well, and then from there it just went downhill, and they didn't really know how to fix it. What day is the All Blacks versus Ireland game on? More than likely that will be on the Sunday morning New Zealand time at 8 a.m. So I believe Irish time, that is either 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. on Saturday night. Hope you're doing a good job. Gentlemen, good night, says Porter. So we'll see you later on. Kicked him behind by Italy. Now cleaned up at the back by Jaminet. Now Rita already decides that he wants to take it on the short side. Almost stolen in the breakdown from the Italians. It's a shame that teams are so far away from the top 6 teams in this World Cup, says Dennis. And the AUB's points strike rate way above the French, says Victor. And the Springboks will be willing to die on the field versus France. The French better be willing to do the same, says JP. And also our gangsters, South Africa, to just be like, no, those rules ain't for us, says Hayden. And now it's going to be a run forward from Montijoani. Great low tackle from Cruz. Trying to use this one quickly. Italy getting it out there, backline, skip pass out wide now to Pani. He has been heavily involved since making his way onto the field. Can you do a shout out for my little brother Mike in there as well, says Liam? Shout out to your brother Mike. Even though we have been sleep deprived, we still see them. And Scotland unlucky not to be in Group A, says John. Well, World Rugby have said that next time they're going to do the draw a lot closer to the World Cup so that it represents the competition a bit better in terms of the overall rankings. That looked like a dodgy clean-out. Henri Wardy took a big shot there. Now in the midfield. Another big run from Zuliani. Oh, that was a beautiful suplex on Anthony Jalonge. Now Montijuani passes out wide, bit of space here. Morisi just stays in the field of play. Offloads it up for Kanoni, who picks it up beautifully and keeps the ball in play. Morisi again will have another crack. Breaks through Pinot's tackle. Tackled now by Gregory Eldred. Fusco rush defence there from France and Jalonge, but the space opens up for Italy. Skip pass. Does get wrestled down there was Federico Russa. And also tries his Johan Isis called pigeon. Spin there from Zuliani. He's over the line. And the replacement number 20 scores the try. We were wearing a green suit tomorrow. Seeing you like the Irish team, says Dennis. We will not because we have a green screen. So if I wear a green suit, I become invisible. That's the best way of describing it. It's the same with the Springboks. Anytime someone asks whether or not we'll wear a green suit or a green tie for the Springboks games, the only reason really that we can't is because with the green screen, if I put anything on, yeah, it will end up with me invisible. You'll only be able to see my head. Here we go. Updated Zuliani, the man who scores the try. And hi, Hamish, and thank you for the awesome commentating. We appreciate it too. Says Stormy. And also, try time. The question is, out of the top teams, we say that any team can lose. But can you see the AB's losing average, says Audio? I honestly would say yes. They can't get too overconfident heading into their future games. What a worse world it would be. The Hamish and the Kiwi lad, says Kerno Wick. Do appreciate you a lot, Kerno Wick. We would commentary the Cricket World Cup. Probably not, because it would get us in trouble. Normally we end up with the copyright strikes from cricket. Can't say Forzy anymore. Says Gus there and Chick Chick Bang. Says Glenn Woods. Can I donate a case of Jameson whiskey, Hamish, says Victor? I mean, I don't know if YouTube are advanced enough to do that, but it would be interesting. That is for sure. Italy have more money. Georgia are broke. It's about how much money these parasites can make. Not about the game, says Calmac, and Fair says Audio, and hey, says, is he me? Hopefully I've said that correctly, although I may have mispronounced that, so I do apologise if I did get that slightly wrong. The commentary, awesome, thanks, says Eddie. I was just too sharp for the mic. Joke mate says bystander. Yeah, unfortunately, it does not quite get through. Can you shout out his full name, please? Says Mike. Or sorry, that was Liam in there as well. Nah, Mike, he's probably got the same last... I would assume he's got the same last name as yourself. Could be your brother. Mike McCarthy. Now, Jaminet takes that one nicely. They got Italy scored. Italy going good at cricket. Says Dennis, I don't think so. I don't think they're in the World Cup. Had the choice of watching this match on TV or joining you live. Much more enjoyable listening to you. Says Rick there, thank you very much. Oh, quick tap taken by the French Kuyu, nailed from the side by the try scorer Zuliani. Someone's holding their face. I think this doesn't look too flash here for Tommaso Allen. There was a big clean out. It looks like it's all about to kick off. Shalon's having a chat to Sebastian Negri, but Tommaso Allen, he is bleeding badly at the moment. A cut on his nose. You're a clever man, Hamish, says Liam. Thank you. Thanks to NATO. This will be the last World Cup, says Misha, and great to see Italy not picking a sad and going home. Deserve a try for the efforts. If lacking any ability. Oh, that is an ugly knock for Tommaso Allen. Injury for Italy. At the point is resting his broken face. And boot to the face, says Rodney there, and start to the face, says Sider. Yeah, that is not a nice one, getting pretty much it just ripped across the top. And yep, says Chloe there. And finally Italy scores, says Rudy. So yeah, currently 52. Oh, 52 points to 7. That scoreline sounds very familiar to myself. And I think, did France beat... No, they didn't beat Uruguay by that. And did Italy beat someone by that? 50... Oh, not quite. 52-8 is why I could remember. But that is what the Italians were able to beat the Namibians by in the first game of this Rugby World Cup group stage. And yes, sure. And also, we have got them a pimpy broken cheekbone. I'm a fan of Anton Leonard-Brown. Would you include him in the AB's quarterfinal? I think that they might go back to Rico Ioane in their midfield, although Rico Ioane, some would say he's out of form, so that might be the risky part to take him out. You can be surprised the finals become Springboks versus Fiji. It'll be like eating candy floss for the Boks, says Vuzumuzi. And also, my face hurts watching that in slow motion. Other South Africans keep trolling me, says Krampus. I average 6 minutes behind, says Jimbo. And there as well. Yeah, that's normally, oh, they're showing Antoine Dupont got a bit of a black eye, but that is about it. The only thing that he's actually showing from his injury. And 6 different players scored tries for France today, says Jonathan Manson. Every time I watch Kiwi Lad, South Africans start crying, says Crumpus. So you think maybe there's a trend of when you tune in, that's when you have said something that then fires them up. Namibia will come back again, says Eddie. Now booger it. Throwing that one into Cameron Walkie. Great set piece there. Going to Jonathan Dante. Just out from the try line now. Melbari has to play a halfback. Moving within 5 metres now of the try line. Around the side of the breakdown once more. The ball is still available for the French. Now Romain Taufifenua driven backwards with a strong Italian defence. Look at their try, Italy, says Ruth. Taking that one, Kuyu going to the short side. Aldrit with the leg drive. Getting an extra metre ahead from the tackle with Sebastian Negri. The ball's available for Kuyu. Goes off to Reda Wardy. Good phase play at the moment. Once again from the French, they are sitting 8 in a row. Kuyu goes up to Taufifenua. It's a hard man to stop, but he's been spiked right down on the top of his head. Offside advantage in favour of France once more. Now Cameron Walker, we've got a new channel member. And there as well, thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated there. Now around the side, this is close for Judelange. And this feels very similar to what we saw in the first half when Italy had phase after phase just out from the try line. Now back across Kuyu. Jalabert goes off to Mofana, who just bulldozes his way over. Tommaso Allen scores in the 75th. Been a super sub in this contest, now scoring the last 2 tries for the French. He's on his road to the hat-trick as well. Pinot has already scored 2. He will still be hoping for that hat-trick. What game are you really looking forward to next, says Dennis? I would say the next big one that I'm thoroughly looking forward to, I mean, in order's probably England-Samoa, because I'm curious to see how that goes. But then Ireland versus Scotland after that is going to be a massive game when they do go head-to-head. The Boks will win France in the quarterfinals. Says Johan, and moderators taking a mini holiday just shows the great caliber of this community. Says bystander. And 2 good commentary this morning, H. Been fun and interesting, says Glenwood. Thank you very much, mate. And yeah, like I mentioned, still plenty more coming this weekend. 3 games back-to-back tomorrow, and then 3 more back-to-back the next day. Is it just me or French don't look like they don't like being physical? The Boks would love that, says Menzie. I think in this game they haven't really had to be hugely, which, I mean, they'll be thankful for because it does mean they'll go into their quarterfinals feeling a lot more fresh. I would like to see France win the tournament, says Calmac. And also watch out for England, says Rudy there. I have to say, right before they score the try, says Fiji Islander. That one is missed away to the side for Jaminet. So after 76.5 minutes, there is still a 50-point difference between these 2 sides and 3.5 minutes remaining. Will the Kiwi lads be checking out any school rugby in South Africa? I went to Paarl Gymnasium High School, which is one of the big 5 rugby schools in South Africa, says Stormy. I mean, I've been watching some of the Curry Cup, or we've actually commentated a bit of the Curry Cup in recent times alongside the URC, so maybe we could end up possibly looking at a bit of rugby at the lower levels. Nicely taken by Italy in the breakdown. Seconds for sure, says Chloe there, and Victor Matfield. And because he ain't on the gear, says, hey, a nice run here from Monte Ioane, though. Italy have still not quite given up in this fixture, trying to get that last Monumental try, kick downfield from Tommaso Allen. Mistake made there from Jonathan Dante. Bit of footballing skills. Mo Farah almost runs that one dead. I believe France now will just look for the clearing kick of Damien Pinot down towards 25 metres. Have you're a charmer, says Liam there. And also we have got there as well. I'd like to see France win the tournament. And also, who have prettier girls, New Zealand or South Africa? Says I've seen. That's a good question. I'm probably not the best person to ask, mainly because I do like sleep during the day and then do live streams during the night. So that means that I don't see a lot of the opposite sex around. Mainly because I just sleep when the sun's up. And Brothers in Murder, hashtag France versus Italy, says David Lee. And Wales are going to win the World Cup, says, wouldn't you want to know? And Wallabies are going to win the World Cup, says David Lee. South Africa girls, duh, says Lee, see. Now, offloaded up, Zuliani knocking the ball on, 90 seconds remaining. That is all it took for France to score the first try in this Rugby World Cup. And the kick is banged downfield, brilliant kick, 50-22 for France. And they will now have the quick throw in, take a nicely big shot. Coming in, crushing the small half back there. In fact, it was Jaminet who got crushed. Oh, and the big man's now got cramp. I think it was Sebastian Negri. Do you build it in the night? Says Dylan. No, not normally. But, yeah, normally on the building site there aren't many females. There's just me and my dad. So that's a bit different compared to the question of the South African or New Zealand girls. And New Zealand has the hottest girls, says William. And thanks so much for the commentary today, says Stuart Moore. No worries at all. Australia, the dark horse, says JP. Yeah, I did see the injury news that Carter Gordon is going to be out for them alongside Rob Leota. And they were talking about whether or not they bring in some new players or whether they just send the rest of them home. And what a 50-22. And also, thanks so much, great commentary as usual, says Gary Smith. But the French fans have been absolutely loving it. They've got 1 minute remaining in this fixture now to try and get one last try. And Bougret. Hi, Dad, says Eddie. Now rolling maul could be on the cards here for the French. Frus, or in fact, Cruz hangs on to it. Now looping around with Bougret inside ball. Oh my, that was a huge shot. It's going to be the penalty advantage. I don't know if that's for offside or for decapitation, but either way, it's going to be a penalty. Now Taufafanua. Now moving to only 15 meters out. And that is now going to be going back for the penalty. Oh, yeah, thank you so much, Hamish. Says Kevin. And shout out to Abby, please. Shout out to you, Abby. I wonder about you, Irish situation. And watch out for Fiji. They are a strong unit and they hurt a lot of teams, says Rudy. Of course, they've got the game up against Portugal on the Monday morning New Zealand time. Right. They've already signalled for the posts. So this will be the win for France. I'm surprised that they've decided not to go for the corner, but that was a big shot. Oh, you see, that was such a big hit. Belbari's snot came oozing out of his nostril. I know that sounds in-depth and kind of too much information, but that literally did happen. He was smashing it on number 11. Says Fiji. And also, do you feel like you're becoming a vampire, Amish, with your sleep schedule? Probably. And I'm also as pale as one, so I feel like I fall into that category as well. All these YouTubers and podcast hosts seriously believe that the brand new Aussie team, Eddie Jones, can start in the world, says JP. Yeah, but we've been saying it for a long time. The coach, they could bring in 5 new coaches for Aussie rugby. It's not the coach that's the problem at the moment. It's the players and it's the player pool that they've got. It's just not deep enough, similar to others, or it's not similar to the other teams around the world. And goodbye, Italy, says John. We have got there. Do you feel like you're becoming... Oh, no, I read that one, didn't I? That's our French march on. Italy go home. So that will make the score now 60 points to 7 at the end of this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Damien Pinot get themselves the 2 tries in the 2nd minute and the 38th. Ramos scoring alongside Belbari, all in the first half. Then Jalibert, Malvaka and Mofana, the 3 try scorers. And there, from where are you doing your live chat, says Craig? I'm set up in my lounge. So I've got a green screen up, but behind me is pretty much the rest of the lounge. as well. And Daylight Soon says Eddie. And also we have got there, I want to make it an even 60. And Blues vs Crusaders Super Rugby Pacific Final, says Valini there. And thank you very much for the wonderful time, Amish. You sure bring the best out, says Chloe Van Royen. Hopefully I've said that correctly. And I was like, mate, nice, says ta. And don't know whether France have got awesome or Italy have collapsed. I think, to be honest, it's probably more so the second one. And that's not taking anything away from this French performance either. It's just the fact that at the moment, Italy have looked like a defeated beast the last 2 weeks, which is a shame because they're a very good side, but it just hasn't really been their day, hasn't been their competition. But France, they will go through this group stage undefeated, the first of any side to do so. So we will have to wait and see what kind of result that has in the way that they play in their quarterfinals. Is just me or France centers the weakest link? I think that Jonathan Dante is strong on any given day for himself, but like it seems to be at the moment that combination of him and Fiku just doesn't quite have that same ring to it as it used to. A great commentary as always. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and thanks for the great commentary, Hamish. Don't forget to put the like on, and thanks, Hamish. See you tomorrow in there as well. And also there, South Africans love crumpets, and New Zealand will get knocked out in the quarterfinals, says Yetta. And I'm off now, Hamish. Bye from the UK. You're too smart for me, says Liam. Lads, it's a Kiwi liquor, Hamish Ham, says Albert. And also rigged against Italy for the host to look good. Springboks will knock them out. Go the Springboks. And also, Fling Hamish a like, says, go back here, anyone who hasn't already. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It is greatly appreciated you all being here. We've got 3 games taking place tomorrow that we are covering on the channel, all back to back to back. The first of which being Wales taking on Georgia. That will be at 2 a.m. Then England plays Samoa at 4:45. Ireland taking on Scotland. That is the last game of the weekend for Pool. That's a lie, actually. That is going to be the last one of Pool B, but it is the first of Pool B, and that will be at 8 a.m. Japan versus Argentina. Whoever wins that goes through to the next stage of the competition. Tonga versus Romania playing for pride, and then Fiji, they need at least 1 point from their game up against the Portuguese to walk away as the victors there. But yeah, it has been hugely appreciated. You all being there throughout this live stream. We'll let you have a good sleep after the finals. Until then, keep up the good commentary. Cheers, Bruce. And thanks again, Hamish Top Man. Cheers. Up at 5 a.m. tomorrow to go metal detecting all day, says Kerno Week. So hopefully you find something decent in your venture. Solid commentary, Hamish. Cheers, mate. And I bet are plenty in the NPC quarterfinals this weekend. They are playing on Sunday, I believe. We already know Canterbury have made their way through ahead of Auckland. Can you watch Wellington or Waikato versus Wellington, please, Hamish? I'll probably be asleep when it takes place if it is later on tonight, because we will be sleeping during the day so that we are all good to go for the all-nighter that we have got planned just around the corner. But yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on the highlights of the Bunnings NBC over this week, see how it does end up going. But I do thank you all very much for tuning into this one. We have got a video coming out in maybe about an hour and a half, and that will be the matchup or the lineups for Fiji versus Portugal. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you for the next one.